Chapter 573. Leader, Green Willow Manor, Sky Bee Sect, and those bastards from Swordford City are causing a ruckus outside the city. Let's go out and fight them within Lang City. In an imposing hall, a young man holding a spear clenched his fist and said angrily, "That's right, let's fight them. Kill our way out, and let them know that the family of generals is not to be trifled with." Everyone in the hall agreed, all of them exuding a bloodthirsty aura. Brothers, don't be rash. The Green Willow Manor, the Heavenly Beast Sect, and the Sword-Crafting City are the three old powers of the Hidden Wind region. Their foundations are very deep, and if it were any one of them, we would not be able to resist them, let alone the three powers joining hands to deal with us. The speaker was a well-built, middle-aged man with a sharp gaze. There were a few scars on his face and arms, and he exuded the aura of an elite on the battlefield. This person was called Chi Wanli, and he was the vanguard general who had followed General Longbow. After General Longbow's departure, Chi Wanli and many other soldiers had gone into seclusion. Brother Chi is right. It's impossible for us to fight against the three great forces with our abilities. But are we just going to sit and wait for death? Everyone's gaze fell on the young figure sitting at the head of the hall. He was a young man in his 20s, but he exuded a mature and steady aura. He had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes, and looked valiant and righteous. After a brief silence, Long Qingyang's eyes narrowed, and he stood up. "You're on, big brother Qingyang?" A beautiful woman with gentle and pretty features who was standing nearby took a few steps forward. Su Yurong. She was the young mistress of the Su family of Gouge City. She had accidentally gotten to know Chu Hen, and with Chu Hen's help, she had quelled the family's internal strife and cured the head of the family, Su Hao's Reiki Energy Street tree. After that, the Su family befriended the family of generals and gave them a mine as a reward. It could be said that the Su family's development was inextricably linked to the Su family. Long Qingyang looked at Su Yurong and said solemnly, "Yurong, the Su family should not participate in this battle." "Why?" Su Yurong's expression changed. "I need your help with something more important." "Something more important?" Su Yurong was slightly startled. Long Qingyang continued, "Please help me escort the Long family through the waterway. What about you?" Su Yurong interrupted before Long Qingyang could finish. "I'm the one they want. I'm staying." "No, if you want to leave, you have to leave with us. There's no time." Long Qingyang held onto Su Yurong's shoulder, his bright eyes staring into her misty eyes. "If the Sacred Star Dynasty doesn't catch me, they will never give up. Even if I manage to escape today, I will always be hunted down. That's why we need to split into two groups. You take the old and young in the city and leave first. I will lead the brothers to break out of the encirclement." "No." Su Yurong shook her head vigorously, tears welling up in her eyes. "I'll be fine." Long Qingyang laughed heartily. "Don't you believe in my abilities?" The other house of generals' brothers in the Great Hall could not help but fall silent when they saw this. Even though everyone knew that Long Qingyang was lying, no one said a word. Boom! Bang! Just then, an earth-shattering explosion sounded outside the city. What followed was an earth-shattering battle cry. Everyone's expression changed as a figure rushed in. "Leader, it's bad. The three forces have started attacking the city." Long Qingyang's expression was still calm. "You're on. I'll leave the House of Generals to you." With that, Long Qingyang turned to the side, a powerful and domineering aura emanating from his body as he roared. "Brothers of the House of Generals, listen up. Yes. Pass down my order. Kill our way out of the city. Let the weapons in our hands taste the blood of our enemies." "Yes." Su Yurong looked sad as she watched Long Qingyang and his men rush out of the door. "First, miss, we don't have much time left. Don't let brother Qingyang down," an elder of the Su family advised. Su Yurong suppressed her sadness, biting her lip as a look of determination flashed across her eyes. "Take the people and leave. I'll be back soon." First, before the elder could finish, Su Yurong had already rushed out of the door and followed Long Qingyang and his men. "Kill. Those who offend the House of Generals shall be executed." "Umph. A mere house of generals dares to compete with a veteran force? A grain of rice dares to compete with the sun and the moon? A bunch of fearless fools. Battle cries shook the heavens as fighting broke out. Blades flashed and swords flashed as ferocious beasts roared. At this moment, an intense battle had broken out both inside and outside of Lang City. Many members of the House of Generals clashed with the forces of the three forces. Streaks of sword shadows and spear radiance crisscrossed like auroras. Powerful and fierce martial skills clashed with each other like thunderclaps. Blood flowed everywhere, and severed limbs littered the ground. Green Willow Manor, Swordforge City, Celestial Beast Sect, any one of them was stronger than the House of Generals. Now that all three forces were here, they were unstoppable. A bunch of rabble dares to take over the mountain die. A green-robed man from Green Willow Manor pierced his sword through the chest of a man from the House of Generals. A mocking smile plastered on his face. In the next instant, a dazzling saber aura attacked, accompanied by a rapid and austere aura. The saber aura was astonishing. Hiss! A round head flew into the air, the wooden smile still frozen on the man's face. I, Chi Wanli, am here. Bring it on, you brats. Buzz! A piercingly cold aura spread out as a muscular middle-aged man, wielding a large blade, charged into the crowd of enemies. His blade danced wildly, blood splattered everywhere as he took the lives of his enemies. In these short 2 years, the House of Generals had developed at an astonishing rate. Moreover, they had taken in many powerful people. The House of Generals attacked with all their might, but they were still extremely powerful. Even so, they could not stop the advance of the three forces. Soon, the three forces had reached the bottom of the city gates. A force like yours will take over in less than half a day. Demonic beast army, break into the city, roar, screech. The Celestial Beast Sect, riding on beasts, was the most powerful. The cooperation between humans and beasts was unparalleled. The flaming tiger wolf let out a deafening roar and charged down like a raging sea, causing the family of generals to fall into disarray. Then, dozens of giant eagles streaked across the sky and rose against the wind. They glided across the sky like arrows and rushed toward Lang City. Seeing that the city gates were about to be breached, the three forces were elated. However, at that moment, a powerful aura suddenly exploded from within Lang City. Nine-souled dragon seal. Roar! Along with the deafening roar of a ferocious beast, the silhouette of a dragon covered in white flames soared into the sky. Heaven and earth suddenly darkened, and the wind howled angrily. The ferocious silhouette of the dragon swept up a terrifying aura and charged into the group of giant eagles. Bang! In an instant, wherever the white silhouette of the dragon went, the giant eagles and the people on their backs were all turned into ashes. The scorching aura spread in all directions, and for a moment, screams and wails were heard everywhere. Everyone from the three forces was shocked. A blurry figure flew over, and they saw a handsome young man standing on the city walls. Long Qingyang is here. Who dares to offend the House of Generals? His clothes and long hair danced in the wind. Long Qingyang stared coldly at the enemies in front of him, unyielding and proud. Hee, welcome, Leader Qingyang. A strange, sinister laugh sounded as a strange-looking, skinny elder rushed towards Long Qingyang. At the same time, a few other powerful auras also rushed towards him. Leader Qingyang, you're finally willing to come out. I've been waiting for a long time. In the face of these dangerous figures, Long Qingyang showed no fear, only a strong will to fight. He clenched his fists, and surging inner yuan surged out. The chaotic battle continued. The situation was extremely difficult for the House of Generals. At that moment, a dozen miles away from Lang City, in a place called River City. River City was majestic, and one could see the scenery of the mountains and the water. 2 watchtowers were built on both sides of the tall city walls. The towers were like watchtowers, and they were especially spectacular. On top of the watchtowers, there are dozens of figures with cold auras. These people were dressed in light armor, and they all wore masks on their faces. The patterns on the masks were different, including silver, gold, and even ghost masks. This was the symbol of the Sacred Star Dynasty's secret forces. Ha ha ha! Lang City will fall in less than 10 minutes. Loud laughter came from the central area of the city walls. There was a spacious stone table there, and there were 4 people sitting around the stone table. The 4 of them toasted each other while watching the chaotic battle in Lang City from afar, as if they were enjoying the view from the top of a mountain. Hee hee, I have to thank the 3 of you for your help in taking down the rebels of the Sacred Star Dynasty so quickly. The one who spoke was a middle-aged man in a black official robe. This person had a jade crown on his head. His eyes were bright. His every movement exuded an innate royal aura. He was none other than the enlightened monarch of the Sacred Star Dynasty, Huangfu Yuanxie. Huangfu Yuanxie was here, and the other 3 were Green Willow Manor's master, Haibu Wang, Sword Forge City's master, Pei Xiao, and Sky Bee Sect's master, Donghua Hong. A mere family of generals actually required the combined efforts of 3 forces. They died a worthy death. The one who spoke was Green Willow Manor's master, Haibu Wang. An old man in an emerald robe spoke. That's right, any one of us could have done this, but the 3 of us are overestimating that little brat, Long Qingyang. Sword Forge City's master, Pei Xiao added. Huangfu Yuanxie smiled without saying a word, but he was cursing in his heart. These 3 old fellows had gotten what they wanted, and they were still pretending to be innocent. If it wasn't for the Windy Mist Dynasty's interference, he wouldn't have spent so much effort to rope in the 3 forces. After all, these old fellows from the Hidden Wind region were all sly old foxes. If Huangfu Yuanxie had only asked for help from one force, the Windy Mist Dynasty might have asked the other 2 forces to interfere. Therefore, Huangfu Yuanxie decided to go all out and meet all 3 forces at once, making them all stand on his side. Although it cost him a lot, the Windy Mist Dynasty wouldn't be able to interfere. By the way, I want that Long Qingyang alive, Huangfu Yuanxie said with a smile. Oh, Haibu Wang asked, slightly surprised. Why is that? Wouldn't killing him be the end of it all? You don't know. Long Qingyang is a serious criminal of the Sacred Star Dynasty, so I need to bring him back to the Imperial City for the Imperial Ancestor to deal with. I see. The few of them smiled and didn't say anything else. However, at this moment, a vigorous and powerful turbulence swept over. Everyone on the E-River city wall was shocked. Long Qingyang is definitely alive, but you're probably going to die. Chapter 574. Long Qingyang is definitely alive, but I'm afraid you're going to die. The powerful aura set off waves, turbulence, and strong winds. Huangfu Yuanxie and the others were shocked as they looked at the dozen figures that suddenly appeared on the top of the tall building on the right side of the city wall. The experts of the Imperial family's dark team that were separated around them all got into formation. Who are you? Huangfu Yuanxie's eyes turned cold as he looked up at the crowd and shouted. This group of people were all wearing loose black robes with hoods. Their figures and appearances could not be seen as they were all shrunk in the black robes. They could only tell from their dusty black robes that they had been on the road for a long time. The leader's aura revealed a trace of coldness, and under the black robe, there was a faint purple light flashing in his eyes. The person you're looking for. A cold voice came out. What? Huangfu Yuanxie's pupils shrank slightly, and a thick layer of frost spread on his face. He stared at the person in astonishment. You're Chu Hen? Chu Hen, Haibu Wang, Pei Xiao, and Donghua Hong, who were next to Huangfu Yuanxie, were also surprised. Ha ha! Huangfu Yuanxie laughed. You little thief Chu Hen, I've been looking for you everywhere, but you've come to me today. Take this traitor down. Yes. The experts of the Imperial family's dark team took the order and flew up, releasing a powerful aura. In an instant, dozens of golden chains extended infinitely like a group of dancing snakes, tearing through the air and attacking Chu Hen and the others. The powerful chains were like iron chains crossing the river, intertwining with each other and covering them like a giant net. Lines of spirit patterns were like rays of light, gorgeous in the sky, with the power to lock the world. Oomph, you couldn't catch me in the imperial capital back then, so you don't have the ability to do so today. Under the black robe, Chu Hen sneered. Then, he made a grabbing motion in the air with his bare hands. Wong! The space trembled, and all the spiritual energy in the world gathered towards Chu Hen's palm. A burst of dazzling silver starlight blossomed. In an instant, Chu Hen's entire body was enveloped in a dazzling and resplendent divine radiance. Especially his left arm. It even seemed as if it had been soaked in the essence of the stars in the sky, and it seemed as if a casual movement of his arm possessed the power to move mountains and fill oceans. Alioth palm. Hum! With a shout, Chu Hen stretched out his palm. Wind and thunder roared, and a huge silver palm appeared in the air in front of Chu Hen. The silver palm was covered in white light patterns. It was sparkling and translucent like the hand of God. Bang! The unstoppable giant palm came crashing down, shattering all the intertwined iron chains in the world. Then, the huge silver palm set off a majestic aura like a mountain, crushing in front of the royal family's dark team. The huge black shadow was like a dark cloud covering the sky, and behind the masks, there was a deep sense of fear. Hiss! Miserable screams resounded one after another as dozens of experts from the dark team were crushed into pieces by the giant silver hand. A strong destructive aura filled the air, and between heaven and earth, light patterns bloomed. What? Huangfu Yuanxie was shocked. How long had it been since they last met? The guy who was chased around the city by the dark team had actually become so terrifying. He was very suspicious. Could the person in front of him really be that Chu Hen? It's your turn. The calm and indifferent voice was like the judgment of the god of death. Huangfu Yuanxie's eyes turned fierce, and a fierce light appeared in his eyes. Don't get carried away, brat. As the #1 general of the Sacred Star Dynasty, Huangfu Yuanxie would not be scared so easily. Moreover, there were 3 experts, Hai Buwang, Pei Xiao, and Dong Wuhong beside him. There was no reason for him to be afraid of the opponent. Boom! A powerful aura erupted from Huangfu Yuanxie's body like a volcano. He leaped into the air, and surging golden light swept and spread in all directions. 2 illusory dragon phantoms surrounded Huangfu Yuanxie's body, crowned with the aura of the dragon's soul. This Huangfu Yuanxie was a member of the royal family. The limit of the bloodline he possessed was the same as that of Huangfu Liang, which was the dragon spirit profound body. Of course, compared to the previous Huangfu Liang, the cultivation and strength of this Huangfu Yuanxie was much stronger. Roar! A deep dragon roar resounded in all directions, and a majestic aura pressed down. However, almost at the same time, Chu Hen disappeared on the spot with a xiao sound, and the strong airflow caused his black robe to flutter. Chu Hen was actually rushing towards Huangfu Yuanxie head-on. In the process of moving, a cold, murderous aura was released from Chu Hen's body, and endless black light wantonly rose and spread. The next moment, the black light around Chu Hen's body was monstrous, and a dark phantom appeared behind him. This phantom's face was vague and strange, like a ferocious beast from the Azura hell. 2 different colors of energy waves, one gold and one black, collided head-on, and a dense light pattern bloomed in the sky, stinging everyone's eyes. Buzz! The domineering black light that originated from Chu Hen's body was extremely penetrating, and it easily penetrated the golden true yuan light around Huangfu Yuanxie. What followed was the sound of something breaking through the air. A blurry black light shadow attacked Huangfu Yuanxie at an extremely fast speed, like a flying arrow that traveled thousands of years. Huangfu Yuanxie's pupils shrank violently, and his panic face was obviously filled with fear. Hiss! The sound of sharp weapon cutting through flesh was clearly heard, and the blurry black light shadow directly broke through the overlapping golden light and gently cut through Huangfu Yuanxie's neck. Ho-ho! The sound of blood spurting and being blown away by the wind was especially heavy. Below, Hai Buwang, Pei Xiao, and Dong Wahong all widened their eyes and turned pale with fright. In the eyes of the three, which were filled with intense horror, a round head was separated from Huangfu Yunxi's shoulder, and the scarlet blood spurted 2 to 3 meters high. Whoosh! Chu Hen stopped like a ghost, leaving a series of afterimages behind him. A black saber suddenly appeared in his hand, and a drop of blood slowly dripped down from it. Bang! A headless corpse fell from the sky, and the round head flew for dozens of meters before stopping. Above the city gate tower, there was silence. A cool breeze blew past, and it was especially cold. Hai Buwang, Pei Xiao, and Dong Wahong were all dumbstruck on the spot. Isn't this unexpected event that occurred a little too shocking? In the blink of an eye, Huangfu Yuanxia's head was already separated from his body. He didn't even have time to call for help. Even though these three had been in the Hidden Wind region for decades and were used to all kinds of big scenes, the scene in front of them still sent chills down their spines. Do you know what to do? Under the black robe, a pair of calm eyes looked back at them. Chapter 575. Boom! Kill! You brats from the family of generals, you won't be able to hold on much longer. Surrender as soon as possible. Otherwise, we'll have to massacre the entire city. A chaotic battle broke out both inside and outside Lang City. Under the fierce attacks of the three factions, the family of generals was on the brink of complete defeat. Qi Wanli and the others were covered in injuries, while Long Qingyang was surrounded by 5 people. He was completely suppressed, unable to advance or retreat. Leader Qingyang, to be honest, I admire you for achieving so much at such a young age. It's a pity that you've offended someone you shouldn't have. I advise you to surrender so that you don't have to suffer. A skinny old man sneered as he attacked fiercely. Long Qingyang frowned. Cut the crap. A man of the Long family would rather die in battle than surrender. Is that so? Don't blame me then. Buzz, buzz. A cold glint flashed across the skinny elder's eyes as his hands flew out like a gust of wind. Like ghostly hands, they left a dazzling trail of claw shadows in the air as they attacked Long Qingyang's vitals at the same time. The other 4 people also unleashed their powerful auras and launched fierce attacks from different directions. Long Qingyang's expression changed slightly as flames rose from his body. However, at that moment, a dazzling Reiki energy rune swept towards him. The surging Reiki energy turned into 5 sword shadows that descended from the sky and slashed at the 5 people surrounding Long Qingyang. The 5 were caught off guard and did not expect someone to be able to help Long Qingyang at that moment. In a hurry, they retreated. Boom, boom. The 5 sword shadows landed heavily on the ground, blasting rocks everywhere and creating 5 large craters. Big Brother Qingyang. A young figure ran over in a hurry. Yurong, why are you still here? Long Qingyang's frown deepened. Don't worry, I've already sent them away with the family of generals. I won't leave you behind. You? Long Qingyang was both a little angry and touched as he looked at Su Yorong's teary face. However, he felt even more helpless. What could he do even if he stayed behind? It was nothing more than sending them to their deaths. The eldest daughter of the Su family? Nice to meet you. The skinny old man smiled coldly. Humph. Su Yorong snorted and raised her sword to fight alongside Long Qingyang. There's no point in wasting words. Go ahead and fight. Hey, I'm happy to help. Right when Lang City had fallen into an enormous crisis, suddenly, a sonorous eagle cry sounded out from the direction of E River City. Everyone's heart skipped a beat, and they all turned to look. In the sky above, a giant snow-white eagle circled 3 times in the void, then turned around and left. What was going on? The members of the Heavenly Beast sect who were riding on their beasts looked at each other in dismay. They all saw the astonishment in their companions' eyes. After a short pause, a middle-aged man riding on a huge flaming tiger shouted, Heavenly Beast sect, listen up. Retreat immediately. Retreat? The people from Green Willow Manor, Swordforge City, and the family of generals were even more stunned. Just now, The White Eagle had sent out an emergency evacuation signal. Once this signal was sent out, no matter how dangerous the situation was, they had to retreat. Despite their doubts, the members of the Heavenly Beast sect did not hesitate and rode their beasts away. Then, a long horn sound was heard. This time, it was the people from Swordforge City who were stunned. That was their retreat signal. Elder, a man from Swordforge City, looked at the skinny old man with an inquisitive gaze. The skinny old man narrowed his eyes and looked at Long Qingyang meaningfully. Looks like your head can be preserved for a few more days. The skinny old man waved his hand and said, "Let's go." Less than 2 seconds after the sound of the horn stopped, a red beam of light rose from the sky behind them, and with a bang, a beautiful rain of fireworks bloomed. The people from Green Willow Manor were confused. What was going on over there? Lang City was about to be breached, so why did they have to retreat? Green Willow Manor, listen up. Return. In an instant, the teams of the three forces retreated like a receding tide. The people from Lang City were even more confused. Long Qingyang, Su Yurong, Qi Wanli, and the rest stood on the city walls, looking at the rapidly retreating enemies with confusion. What's going on? I don't know. Could it be a trick of theirs? That's unlikely, right? Qi Wanli shook his head. The city will fall in at most half a cup of tea's time. Why would they need to play any tricks? Long Qingyang's eyes narrowed as he fell into deep thought. However, at this moment, a dozen or so black shadows were approaching from afar. Look! Everyone's eyelids twitched. Soon, the dozen or so black figures arrived in front of them. These people were all wearing loose black robes with hoods. Even their heads and bodies were shrunk inside. Even their faces could not be seen. The dozen people hovered in the air above Lang City, facing off against Long Qingyang's group. "May I know where you're from? What can I do for you?" Long Qingyang took a step forward, a solemn expression on his face. Even though the other party was small in number, the pressure they exerted on the people of Lang City far exceeded that of the three factions. The other party did not reply. Long Qingyang continued, "Thank you, seniors, for helping us resolve this crisis. May I know what you wish to do for us?" The black-robe leader slowly raised his right hand and pointed at Long Qingyang, then raised his palm and bent it a few times, making an obvious provocative gesture. The people from the family of generals frowned slightly, a little annoyed. Long Qingyang's expression froze. "Senior, do you wish to spar with me? Make your move." A deep voice sounded from beneath the black robes. The voice seemed to be deliberately suppressed, as if to hide something. Su Yurong, who was standing beside Long Qingyang, frowned slightly, her red lips slightly parted, looking uncertain and confused. Long Qingyang nodded slightly, his eyes flashing with determination. "If that's the case, then I'll have to offend you." Buzz, buzz! A wave of heat was released from Long Qingyang's body, followed by a ball of white flame that rose violently in his palm. Vigorous yuan energy danced in the air like glowing tassels, causing the surrounding crowd to take a few steps back. "Senior, be careful." Long Qingyang punched out with his palm, sending the ball of white flame shooting out. As it moved, the flames rapidly expanded, and by the time it reached the black-robed man, it had grown into a giant fireball that was dozens of meters wide. Bone Flame Spirit Fire. This was a heavenly flame that Long Qingyang had obtained back then. Its power was extraordinary and overbearing, far surpassing ordinary flames. In the eyes of the people from the family of generals, Long Qingyang's attack was extremely powerful and would definitely teach the other party a lesson. However, to everyone's shock, the giant fireball came to a stop 10 meters in front of the black-robed man. "What?" Long Qingyang's expression changed slightly. With a loud bang, the fireball exploded in the middle, turning into a rain of fire that filled the sky. As for the black-robed man, he stood there motionlessly. The power of the white fireball couldn't even touch his clothes. So powerful. On the other side, Qi Wanli's face was filled with shock. The black-robed man once again made a provocative gesture towards Long Qingyang. This time, even more frivolous than before. Long Qingyang was a little annoyed, but not because of the repeated provocations, but because he couldn't even touch the other party's clothes. This was a huge blow to him. Buzz! Flames danced in Long Qingyang's eyes. With a wave of his left hand, a ball of white flame rose, and with a flick of his right hand, a blazing scarlet flame appeared. Mystical scarlet flames, bone flame, spirit fire. The mystical scarlet flames was something that Long Qingyang had obtained in the Seven Souls' ancient kingdom during the Skylist War. With the power of these two heavenly flames, Long Qingyang's bloodline power was constantly growing. Has it already reached the mystic body bloodline limit? A low murmur came from under the black robe. The white bone flame spirit fire's heat was completely restrained, not leaking out. The mystical scarlet flames was like lava, its heat distorting the surrounding space. Two types of domineering fire energy swirled around Long Qingyang's body, forming spiraling vortexes that spread in all directions. Long Qingyang's aura continued to rise, like a fiery demon god. 9 Soul Dragon Seal, Twin Dragon Fusion. Long Qingyang roared as scarlet and white flames rushed into the sky from his body. Roar! Roar! A peerless dragon roar reverberated in all directions, whipping up gales and blanketing the sky with heat waves. 2 enormous fiery dragons, one white and one red, flew out of the sea of flames, intertwining as they charged towards the black-robed man in the sky. The 2 frighteningly ferocious dragon shadows fused together in an instant, turning into an even larger dual-flame WYRM that accurately struck the black-robed man's body. Buzz! The sky changed color as waves of heat soared into the sky. Incomparably violent shock waves rippled out from the sky as the raging fiery energy swallowed the black-robed man. Beautiful! The members of the family of generals could not help but cry out in surprise. Let's see if these people still dare to look down on our leader. But what happened next left the family of generals dumbfounded. The flames that filled the sky quickly disappeared like a whale sucking in water, and the chaotic energy was instantly suppressed. The black-robed man that had been swallowed by the flames appeared in front of everyone once again. Just like before, he was completely unscathed, not even his clothes wrinkled. What? Who the hell is this guy? In addition to the shock, everyone's faces revealed a deep sense of solemnity. This person was so powerful that he could easily destroy their family of generals. Long Qingyang clenched his fists, staring at the black-robed man. Then, a gentle voice sounded from under the black robes. Mystic Body Bloodline Limit, 3rd rank Void Piercing Stage. You're even higher than I expected. It was a familiar voice in an intimate tone. Long Qingyang could not help but raise his eyebrows as he blurted out in disbelief. You are? Big brother, long time no see. Chapter 576. Third brother. Long Qingyang's eyes widened as he stared at that handsome young face. The seriousness on his face disappeared in an instant and was replaced with surprise and delight. Su Yorong's red lips parted slightly in surprise. Chu Hen? Young Master Hen. It's young Master Hen, the members of the House of Generals exclaimed. Their emotions had changed so quickly that it was as if they had jumped from a deep valley to a mountain peak. The surprise had come too quickly. Swoosh! Chu Hen was the first to descend and land in front of Long Qingyang and the others. Long Qingyang excitedly put his hand on Zhou Yuan's shoulder. Ha ha, you brat. You tested me the moment you arrived and embarrassed me in front of everyone. How am I going to convince the others in the future? Chu Hen smiled embarrassedly. I was afraid that you wouldn't dare to use your full strength after knowing it was me. You're getting more and more naughty. If your second sister was here, how would she teach you a lesson? It's fine, second sister can't beat me. Ha ha. Long Qingyang laughed heartily, completely unbothered by Chu Hen's teasing. Brother Qingyang, how have you been? Qiting took off his black robe and greeted him politely. Oh, you're the one from the Boulder Dynasty. Long Qingyang's eyes lit up. Ha ha. Brother Qingyang, you have a good memory. But I'm now with Chu Hen, so I'll have to call you Big Brother. Qi smiled. The rest of the group revealed their faces as well. Long Qingyang was even more surprised to see a few familiar faces among them. Lady Mingshang, Instructor Shilan, Instructor Hong Lian, you're here too? Brother Qingyang, long time no see. Luo Mengshang smiled faintly. Shilan also nodded in acknowledgement. Big brother, let me introduce you. This is senior sister Yinhan Lu from the Thousand Cranes sect, and these are Fuqin, Jishu, Huaxue, Nongqi, and Lu Qi from the Kunliu sect. You've met them before. The group greeted each other with a smile and a nod. Long Qingyang was even more astonished. He could naturally tell that these people were not ordinary. He didn't expect that Chu Hen would actually get to know so many young talents in just 2 years. It was really unexpected. Chu Hen, why didn't you inform us earlier that you were back? Are you trying to scare us to death? Su Yurong walked up to him and patted him with slight dissatisfaction. Chu Hen smiled embarrassedly. I came in a hurry, so I didn't think too much. So you're saying that those people from the 3 major powers were all taken away by you? It's not enough to just drive away the 3 forces. If they can't take down the city today, that Huangfu Yuanxie will definitely think of other tricks, Qi Wanli said in a deep voice. Huangfu Yuanxie? Chu Hen smiled, but said nothing. Qi Teng, who was behind him, grinned. Come, brother Qingyang, this is a greeting gift for you. With that, Qi Teng waved his hand and a headless corpse appeared on the ground in a flash of white light. The round head spun twice before stopping at their feet. This is Huangfu Yuanxie. Everyone couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. They were shocked once again. One fatal stab. Long Qingyang's eyes narrowed. Apart from his shock, he looked at Chu Hen with a deeper and more meaningful gaze. His third brother was indeed not an ordinary person. Looking at Huangfu Yuanxie's corpse, the members of the House of Generals gasped in shock. With this, the crisis that had been looming over them had been resolved. He could finally relax his tense nerves for the past few days. Third brother, take your friends to rest first. I'll look for you after I clean up the mess here, Long Qingyang said. After the chaotic battle, Lang City was in a mess. Broken limbs and bloody corpses were scattered all over the place. This was a huge blow to the House of Generals. If not for Chu Hen's timely arrival, Long Qingyang's hard work would have been for naught. Chu Hen nodded and did not say anything else. Night. The sky was filled with stars and Lang City was quiet. After the intense battle during the day, the members of the House of Generals welcomed a peaceful night. Third brother, we haven't had a drink in a long time. Let's drink to our hearts' content tonight. Under the moonlight and flowers, on the stone table in the courtyard, a pot of fine wine and a few side dishes. Although they didn't look particularly exquisite, the two of them had a rare, relaxed, and joyful expression on their faces. Third brother, if your second sister knew how strong you've become, she would be very happy. Is she doing well in the Aishian sect? In Chu Hen's mind, a beautiful figure that was as cold as ice could not help but appear. Long Xuanchuang had always been an icy beauty. When they were young, Chu Hen had followed her around every day, but Long Xuanchuang did not like it when Chu Hen followed her around. Because of that, Long Xuanchuang had been beaten up many times, but the truth was that Long Xuanchuang's heart was exceptionally soft under that cold exterior. After not seeing her for so long, Chu Hen could not help but miss her. She's doing well. The Aishian sect leader has taken a liking to her talent and is preparing to take her in as a disciple. She sent a few letters asking about you, and I told her that you're doing well. Long Qingyang was a little tipsy from the alcohol, a look of longing on his face. Chu Hen could see the faint sadness in the other man's eyes. He knew that Long Qingyang missed Long Zhan, the family member who had left in a hurry without even saying goodbye. There were too many sudden changes in the world. The mountains did not move, the water flowed, the sky did not move, and the clouds did not move. Third brother, when do you plan to leave this time? Long Qingyang asked. Chu Hen was taken aback. Big brother, what's the matter? Long Qingyang shook his head. I want to move the family of generals away. Chu Hen frowned, immediately guessing what Long Qingyang was thinking. Although the crisis today had been resolved, the real crisis for the family of generals was still there. Once Huangfu Yuanxie died, the Sacred Star Empire would send a second one. Moreover, the next one would be even more powerful. They might even ignore the treaty with the Wind Mist Empire and eliminate Chu Hen and Long Qingyang. In Long Qingyang's opinion, the family of generals was far from being able to go against the Sacred Star Empire. The only thing they could do now was to move away from the Hidden Wind region to protect themselves for now. There have been many changes in the Sacred Star Empire over the past 2 years. The Imperial Ancestor has regained control of the Empire, and all the major forces and families have bowed their heads to him. Even the prestigious Engraver Guild has fallen under the control of the Imperial family, let alone the higher academies and martial houses. Is Tensei Prefecture doing well? Chu Hen asked. Long Qingyang shook his head with a bitter smile. Tensei Prefecture is about to fall. What? Chu Hen was shocked. Because Principal Jiang helped us escape from the Sacred Star Empire, the Imperial Ancestor was so angry that he sent Principal Jiang to the death row to suffer for the rest of his life. Only Song Qinglai, Shadowless, and a few other mentors are left in Tensei Prefecture. Apart from a few students who still have feelings for the academy, there are not many people left. Long Qingyang was drunk. His words were slurred. If he was sober, he would not have said all this to Chu Hen. Crack! Chu Hen clenched his fists so hard that the wine glass in his palm was crushed. Chapter 577. After sending the drunken Long Qingyang back to his room, Chu Hen quietly left the room. Although it was late at night, Chu Hen did not feel tired at all. Long Qingyang's words seemed to have taken root in his mind and could not be erased. The situation in the Sacred Star Empire had changed drastically. The Imperial Ancestor had regained control of the royal power, and all the forces had surrendered. Tensei Prefecture was about to fall. The administrator Principal Jiang had been sent to prison, and Song Qinglai, Shadowless, and the other mentors would not be able to hold on for long. It could be said that the fall of Tensei Prefecture was all because of him. Apart from that, the people of the clan of generals could no longer stay in the Hidden Wind region. Now that the feud between him and the royal family had deepened, if this continued, it would be difficult to escape the Sacred Star Empire's army. If he did not want to escape, he would have to strike first. Chu Hen's eyes were cold. Should he do the same to the Mu clan of Taishao City? Chu Hen shook his head. This was a good way to deal with Taishao City, but it would not be so easy to deal with the Sacred Star Empire. After all, Taishao City was just a city. Although the Mu clan had more experts than the Sacred Star Empire, the former's defensive awareness was too weak. The Sacred Star Empire was vast and rich in resources. The royal family would probably receive the news the second he arrived at the capital, and there would be no chance or time to set up a formation. Moreover, since the Sacred Star Empire had already made a move against him, they must have already found out what he had done recently, as well as how he had taken down Taishao City. The capital was probably heavily guarded, and with the royal family on guard, it was almost impossible to invite them into the trap. If he could not outwit them, it was even more impossible to use force, not to mention the difference in overall strength between the two sides. The Imperial Ancestor, who was at the 9th level of the void-piercing state, was enough to crush Chu Hen and the others, unless he could get the help of the demon, Tuoba Sha. However, this was obviously unrealistic. When he took down Taishao City, Tuoba Sha had already returned the favor. Later on, he had even removed the threat of the Tsang clan in Moon City. Speaking of which, he still owed Tuoba Sha a favor. Not to mention that he didn't know where Tuoba Sha was. Even if he could find him, Chu Hen wouldn't be able to open his mouth. Things seemed to have come to a dead end. There was no choice but to retreat. But what about Tensei Prefecture? What about Principal Jiang? The other party was implicated because of him. After returning to his room, Chu Hen's face darkened. He turned over and lay on the bed, his heart heavy. At this moment, he longed for power even more than usual. Suddenly, a strand of strange energy fluctuations spread out from Chu Hen's body. What followed was a deep voice. It's just a dynasty, yet you're so worried. What a joke. Chu Hen was startled. He was stunned for a moment before he reacted. You damn bird, you're still alive? Nonsense. I won't die even if you die. Is that so? You're really amazing, Chu Hen retorted. The one who suddenly spoke was none other than the 1,000-year-old demon hidden in Chu Hen's body, the sacred wing Heavenly Flame Sparrow. After leaving the Mang Mountain Forest and arriving at the Heavenly Sword Pavilion, The sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow wanted Chu Hen to fulfill his promise and share the bloodline power of the sacred demonic eye body. Chu Hen didn't dare to rashly agree and decisively rejected the other party. This made the sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow very unhappy. From then on, it didn't say a word to Chu Hen. After such a long time had passed, Chu Hen had almost forgotten that there was still such a shocking giant demon hidden within his body. What? Even at this time, you're still not willing to share the power of your demon eye with me? Don't bother me, Chu Hen replied coldly. Bastard. If it weren't for me, would you have broken through to the 4-star demon eye body? You humans are shameless and untrustworthy. Chu Hen didn't say anything. He couldn't be bothered with the other party. The sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow didn't give up. Don't think that you'll be at a disadvantage. To be honest, you only have a powerful bloodline, but you lack a guide. Once you share the power of the bloodline with me, our benefits will be interdependent. As my strength grows, your bloodline will also grow stronger. Do you understand? The other party used both hard and soft tactics. Chu Hen still didn't answer. In the darkness, his eyes surged with a deep intent. Another period of silence. Both sides did not speak again. After a long time, Chu Hen said in a gentle tone, I have a condition. Speak. The sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow replied. I need to greatly increase my cultivation in the shortest time possible. Can you do it? Simple. However, the sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow paused for a moment, then said with a mocking smile, I was tricked by you last time, so you must first share the power of the sacred demon eye body with me. Only then will I give you power. Chu Hen's expression was very calm, and he did not bargain with him. Let's begin. I've been waiting for a long time. The sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow replied, a hint of excitement in its voice. Immediately, Chu Hen got up and sat on the bed. After taking a deep breath, Chu Hen's eyes flashed with determination. Then, he closed his eyes and entered a state of cultivation. Buzz. Soon, Chu Hen's divine sense merged into his Dantian sea of qi. Then, his consciousness space quickly became clear, and Chu Hen entered a dark, hazy, and strange space. In the sky of this space, a pair of huge purple eyes floated. A huge pressure spread in all directions. It was like the eyes of an ancient demon god. In the depths of the eyes, there were 4 black dots. Its aura was cold, like an emperor looking down on the world. The power of the 4-star demon eye was enough to crush most of the mystic body bloodline limits that had evolved to their strongest state. 5 stars, 6 stars, 7 stars, 8 stars, and even 9 stars. What kind of terrifying power did it contain? Chu Hen's heart was full of yearning and anticipation. Come out, Chu Hen replied coldly. Screech. As soon as he said that, a loud bird cry rang out in Chu Hen's mind. Along with a dazzling rainbow light, a shocking demon beast that looked down on the world appeared under the huge purple eyes. The sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow's entire body was covered in red feathers that were as clear as jade. Its pair of wings flickered with 7-colored light, dazzling and peerless. Then, under Chu Hen's control, the demon eye hovering in the sky burst out with a dense purple light. Endless purple light poured down like divine light and fell on the sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow. The latter let out a startled cry and flapped its wings, sweeping up layers of heat waves as it rushed toward the pair of demon eyes. Rumble. At this moment, dark clouds churned in the sky. It was like the beginning of the primal chaos, with winds swirling around the clouds. Then, an incomparably huge black phantom appeared behind the demon eye. In an instant, a majestic mountain-like pressure pressed down, and at the same time, a dense and domineering black light spilled out, attacking the sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow. The sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow's cold eyes turned slightly cold, as if it was dissatisfied. What do you mean? Chu Hen did not answer. With a thought, he withdrew the chaotic power. The huge space trembled, and the powerful black light quickly retreated. The huge black shadow that appeared behind the demonic eye once again hid itself, and then disappeared. The caution in the sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow's eyes finally disappeared. At the same time, its body shone brightly, releasing demonic power that merged with the demon eye's bloodline power. Just as the sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow had said, the demon eye's sacred body's power could merge with the sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow's demonic power. There was not much repulsion between the two. The gorgeous purple demon eye was like the sun in the sky, and the sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow seemed to be bathed in holy light. Chapter 578. The hazy world was shrouded in an endless seven-colored brilliance. The entire space seemed to be shrouded in colorful, auspicious clouds. Gorgeous patterns of light intertwined with the purple light. Under Chu Hen's control, the power of the demon pupil's sacred body continuously fused with the sacred winged heavenly flame bird's demonic energy. After an unknown amount of time, a loud bird cry resounded in Chu Hen's consciousness space. The world spun and the stars shifted. The endless multicolored light became extremely restless. It was as if the sea was churning and a storm was howling. The multicolored light formed a huge energy whirlpool, rumble. Violent turbulence swept through Chu Hen's body like a hurricane, and waves of violent energy flowed through his body. Then, a blurry figure gradually appeared in the energy whirlpool. It was a blurry figure enveloped in a dazzling, seven-colored sacred light. Chu Hen could only see the figure's back, and it was a blurry figure at that. Even so, that back gave Chu Hen an aura of peerless elegance and untainted by dust and smoke. At that moment, the figure suddenly turned around. Chu Hen instantly saw a pair of eyes. It was a pair of amber-colored glass-like eyes. They exuded a limitless charm that made people feel as if they were looking at them for 10,000 years. For some reason, Chu Hen's heart suddenly trembled. It was as if his heartstrings were gently plucked by an invisible hand. Just as Chu Hen composed himself and prepared to take a closer look at the figure, he heard a loud and clear bird cry. A rainbow-colored sacred sparrow, which emitted an aura that looked down on all living things, swooped down from the endless energy whirlpool, intimidating heaven and earth. Rumble! Heavenly thunder rumbled, and light rained down. The huge energy whirlpool quickly surged toward the sacred winged heavenly flame bird. Soon the chaotic space gradually calmed down. Under the huge purple demonic eyes, a multicolored sacred sparrow spread its wings and flew. Behind it, a beautiful illusory shadow was left behind, like a rainbow bridge after the rain. The pair of demonic eyes were like two bright suns and stars on the rainbow bridge. The purple demon eyes and the sacred winged heavenly flame sparrow seemed to be connected by mysterious runes that were almost transparent. These runes and secret scrolls were like a dozen illusory chains, connecting the two together. Chu Hen could clearly feel that the bloodline boundary of the demon eye's sacred body was closely connected to the other party's demonic power. You're quite honest this time. There was a hint of excitement in the sacred wing heavenly flame bird's voice. This way, as long as the power of Chu Hen's demonic eyes grew stronger, the former's demonic energy would also grow stronger. Humph! Chu Hen snorted and didn't say anything. Although you have shared the power of Demon Eye's bloodline with me, your own strength will not be restricted, and Demon Eye's power will not be affected at all. You can rest assured about this. The sacred wing heavenly flame sparrow said. I know, Chu Hen replied indifferently. Naturally, he could sense whether his power had been weakened or not. The answer was no. Not only that, Chu Hen also found that Demon Eye's power had increased by quite a bit. Just as he had said back in the Thousand Cranes sect, the sacred wing heavenly flame bird had been nurturing Chu Hen for a period of time. In the later stages, half of the Demon Eye's power had to be given out, and the normal speed would be reduced by half. However, this was not what the sacred winged heavenly flame sparrow hoped for. So, when the time came, he would think of a way to help Chu Hen's sacred demon pupil body evolve. After all, his goal was to return to his peak as soon as possible. There was only one thing that Chu Hen was worried about. Once the sacred wing heavenly flame bird returned to its peak strength, would it burn the bridge after crossing the river? After using it, it would kill it again. Of course, since it had come to this, he could only take it one step at a time. If that day really came, Chuhin wouldn't let the sacred wing heavenly flame bird manipulate him, even if he had to do everything he could. I've done what I promised you. It's your turn now, Chuhin said coldly. No problem. As soon as he finished speaking, the sacred wing heavenly flame bird glided in the air and shot into the sky. Screech. A loud and clear cry soared into the sky. The sacred wing heavenly flame bird soared into the sky and burst out with a dazzling divine light like the sun. In an instant, an incomparably surging energy surged out of its body and rushed into Chu Hen's body, flowing into his meridians. Oh! As soon as the powerful demon power attacked, Chu Hen's throat couldn't help but let out a muffled sound. An astonishing energy flowed through his entire body, filling every inch of his meridians and swimming into every strand of his flesh. Buzz, buzz. In the Dantian Sea of Qi, the Yuan Dan rotated rapidly. The golden Yuan Dan emitted a flickering light. On the surface of the Yuan Dan, there were 4 strange lines. Pure and powerful energy was being channeled into the Yuan Dan like a flood. The violent fluctuation was like the magma inside a volcano. It was unusually angry. Kacha! A slight cracking sound came from within Chu Hen's body. A 5th crack appeared on the Yuan Dan, and at the same time, an aura that was countless times stronger than before leaked out of Chu Hen's body. A breakthrough to the 5th rank of the void-piercing realm. However, the power that filled Chu Hen's major meridians didn't weaken because of this. Instead, it became stronger and stronger. In the room, Chu Hen's body was shining with a gorgeous, colorful light. On the floor and walls of the room, light patterns flowed and runes flickered, forming a strange defensive ceiling array. Ever since Chu Hen left the Sacred Star Dynasty, he had the habit of arranging a defensive array in his room. Otherwise, every time he broke through, the uncontrollable aura could easily collapse the house. In addition, with the isolation of the array, it was not easy to be disturbed by the outside world. After an unknown amount of time, beams of light suddenly poured out of Chu Hen's body. Kacha! A surging aura gushed out of his body again, and the Yuan Dan in his Dantian Sea of Qi once again split open the 6th strange line. In the blink of an eye, several days passed. Chu Hen didn't step out of his room these days. Every day, there would be people waiting outside his door, but there was no movement. Long Qingyang, Luo Mengshang, Shilan, and the rest were all secretly puzzled. But this wasn't the first time this happened, so they weren't too worried. Late at night, Sacred Star Dynasty, capital city. The cicadas were silent, and the night wind was cool. Red walls and tall buildings looked up, and the sky couldn't be seen in the distance. People didn't sleep, and the night didn't end. Green bricks and white tiles, the city was wounded, and the city was wounded. This was the center of the capital city. In the imperial city, security was tight, and the atmosphere was cold and solemn. In a tall and imposing pavilion, there was actually a little deserted. Looking south from the pavilion balcony, a figure in an evening dress was leaning against the railing, letting the cool night breeze ruffle her silky black hair. This was a young lady with a noble aura. Her exquisite face revealed an inherent elegance and grace. She was the royal sister of the Sacred Star Dynasty's emperor, and also the first female regent in history. However, at this moment, there was a trace of unbearable sadness in her moon-like eyes. Royal sister, at this moment, a questioning voice came along with the sound of footsteps. Huang Fuqing looked up slightly, and then a young man, less than 20 years old, walked out of the pavilion. This person was none other than the emperor of the Sacred Star Dynasty, Huang Fu Hao. Why are you here? Huang Fuqing smiled slightly. You haven't been to the morning court for more than a month, so I came to see you. Huang Fu Hao had always called himself I in front of her, not emperor. What does it matter if I go or not? Isn't the capital city fine now? No. Huang Fu Hao rejected directly. None of the civil and military officials in the court look at me. They only have eyes for the imperial ancestor. Huang Fuqing still only smiled. She was already used to it. In the past, it was the divine empress, and now it was the imperial ancestor. It didn't seem any different. The only difference was that the imperial ancestor had become more ruthless after regaining power. Anyone who disobeyed him would end up in a miserable state. Royal sister, you haven't told me why you haven't been to the morning court these days. To be honest, I'm a little scared without you by my side. Because I thought of someone, Huang Fuqing said slowly. Her beautiful eyes turned to the hazy horizon in the distance, and her slightly frowning eyebrows showed a trace of shallow thought. That scene from 2 years ago was still lingering in her memory, and she couldn't forget it. The capital city was in a great change, and it caused a great disturbance. That young man's eyes were red with anger, and he was going to kill the divine empress. Huang Fuqing clearly remembered the angry roar of that young man before he escaped from the capital city. If I, Chu Hen, don't destroy your sacred star dynasty, I swear I'm not a man. Boundless rage, boundless hatred, and boundless resentment caused countless people's hearts to be marked with a deep mark. Originally, when the imperial ancestor regained power, that storm had gradually subsided. Huang Fuqing buried that figure deep in her heart and didn't touch it anymore. She only sighed with emotion occasionally. However, for some reason, Huang Fuqing's mind was not calm recently. She always felt that something was going to happen. Last night, in her dream, she dreamed that a young man holding a black saber was looking at her from afar, and behind him, there was a pair of strange purple eyes. The cold aura made it difficult for people to approach. That pair of eyes was full of endless hatred. Chapter 579. Meteors streaked across the sky, short and hasty. On the Jade Tower, Huang Fuqing unknowingly fell into the past. Is he coming back? The young figure kept appearing in Huang Fuqing's mind. She sighed softly. Her delicate face outlined a beautiful arc in the hazy night. Her eyes slightly drooped as she murmured softly to herself. At this moment, at the border of the Sacred Star Dynasty, within a quiet room in the Hidden Wind Region's Lang City, Chu Hen, who had not left his room for quite a few days, suddenly opened his eyes along with an astonishingly powerful aura. Buzz, an invisible power swept out, and a purple light flickered in those deep eyes. The cold deterrence was like a torch that had a penetrating power. Immediately, the restless power outside, Chu Hen's body gradually calmed down. The aura that was emitted slowly receded. All the major meridians of his body flowed with surging power energy. In his dantian, a dazzling yuan dan rotated, releasing rich, true inner force. On the surface of the yuan dan, there were 7 strange lines. These 7 veined patterns shone brightly, as if they were ancient runes. Vigorous, true inner force constantly overflowed from them. The 7th rank of the void-piercing realm. Chu Hen gently let out a breath of turbid air, then calmed his body and mind. How is it? Are you satisfied? The sacred wing, heavenly flame, sparrow, said calmly. The strength of the royal family's old man has reached the 9th rank of the void-piercing realm, Chu Hen replied. So what? If you think it's not enough, I can help you break through 2 more ranks. No need. Chu Hen refused without thinking. After all, on the path of cultivation, it was not always better to be fierce. Once the realm soared too much, it was very easy to cause instability in the foundation, which would affect future achievements. 3 levels could be said to be very big. If he soared to the 9th rank in one go, it was equivalent to crossing 5 levels, and there would definitely be a situation where the true inner force was unstable. Although the imperial ancestor's cultivation was only a step away from the profound world realm. However, Chu Hen possessed 2 great bloodline boundaries and many trump cards, so there was no need to be afraid of him in a head-on confrontation. What the royal ancestor cultivated was the 7-star scripture, and what Chu Hen cultivated was also this scripture. Even if Zhang Xian didn't have absolute confidence in defeating the other party, it wouldn't be easy for the other party to take him down. Old man, Your good days of riding roughshod over others are coming to an end. Chu Hen's eyes turned cold, and his slightly thin face faintly revealed a bit of ruthlessness. Early in the morning, creak. The moment Chu Hen opened the door, a gust of fresh air blew into his face. At the same time, a familiar and beautiful face appeared before his eyes. You're finally willing to come out? Chu Hen faintly smiled. Have you always been guarding me here? No. Luo Mingxiang raised her eyebrows and pretended to be careless. I just walked here. I guess you'll come out today. Chu Hen smiled, and a little gentleness appeared in his eyes. You guessed it right. Of course, don't you know who I am? Wait. Luo Mingxiang suddenly froze and stared at the other party with confusion. You broke through again? Chu Hen nodded. Luo Mingxiang was surprised, and she could vaguely feel that the true inner force in Chu Hen's body was obviously stronger than her own. In other words, the other party's cultivation had reached the 6th rank of the void-piercing realm. Tell me honestly, what have you been doing these days? Luo Mengxiang approached Chu Hen and asked. Okay, I'll explain it to you later. Chu Hen held the other party's lily-white hand and went straight out of the courtyard. I'll go find Big Brother first. About half an hour later, the meeting hall of the general clan. Shilan, Qi Teng, Yin Hanlu, Fu Qin, and the others arrived one after another. General Qi, where's Big Brother? Chu Hen asked Qi Wanli beside him. Qi Wanli was just about to answer when a series of hurried footsteps came from the door, followed by several people walking in. I'm here. Long Qingyang's voice was heard, and then he said, Third brother, look who's here. Oh, Chu Hen was startled at first, but when he looked over, he saw a middle-aged man in his 40s standing between Long Qingyang and Su Yurong. The man had quite an imposing manner, and his body faintly revealed a vigorous Reiki energy fluctuation. Patriarch Su. Chu Hen's eyes lit up as he blurted out. The person who came was none other than the patriarch of Gouge City's Su family, and also Su Yurong's father. Ha, Brother Chu Hen, how have you been? Su Hao cupped his fists and laughed heartily. Chu Hen cupped his fists in return. Long time no see. Patriarch Su, you're getting more and more energetic. Congratulations. It's all thanks to you, Brother Chu Hen, that I'm where I am today. When I heard that you'd returned a few days ago, I immediately rushed over to Lang City. I'm very relieved to see you again, Su Hao said with some emotion. He was truly grateful to Chu Hen. This was evident from the fact that the other had sent people to help the family of generals despite offending the 3 major factions of the Hidden Wind region. This was the kind of person that was worth befriending. Third brother, Patriarch Su has been waiting here for a few days, Long Qingyang said. Chu Hen cupped his fists apologetically. I had something to attend to at the last minute, so I've delayed Patriarch Su's time. Please forgive me. There's no need to be so polite. Su Hao waved his hand. Long Qingyang continued. Third brother, I've already discussed with Patriarch Su. In half a month, we'll move the family of generals to Ganxie City in the Misty Wind Empire. Everyone looked at Chu Hen. Su Hao nodded as well. I have quite a few friends in the evil Gan City, and I've already informed them about it. Moreover, Ganxie City is located in the Misty Wind Empire, so the Sacred Star Empire won't dare to attack. However, Chu Hen's expression did not change in the slightest. Then he said, Why do we need to leave? But staying here isn't a long-term solution, Long Qingyang said. No matter where we stay, it's not a long-term solution. The only long-term solution is to break into the Imperial City, invade the Sacred Star Empire, kill our enemies, kill the traitors, launch a counterattack, and destroy the Imperial City in one fell swoop. A few words came out of Chu Hen's mouth, but clearly, everyone's expression changed. However, Luo Mingxiang, Shilan, Yin Hanlu, Qi Teng, and the others all looked determined. To them, it was normal for Chu Hen to make such a decision. Are you crazy? That's an empire we're talking about. Su Yurong couldn't help but exclaim. So what if it's an empire? Chu Hen glanced at them coldly, his invisible domineering aura causing everyone's hearts to tremble. We'll be the ones to send them to their graves. A wave of cold air filled the hall. Everyone's gaze firmly stared at Chu Hen's face. His face did not have the slightest bit of a joking expression. There was only a look of righteousness and determination. "When do we leave?" Long Qingyang asked. Shi Wanli and Su Yurong looked at Long Qingyang in shock. He didn't even have the slightest doubt. He agreed to Chu Hen's request just like that. Chu Hen and Long Qingyang's eyes met, and the two brothers smiled at each other. Sometimes, trust was that simple. "Ha, it's time for another big fight." Chi Tung rubbed his palms, his knuckles cracking. "Just tell me what resources you need. I'll go back to the Boulder Empire to get them." "Me too. The Misty Wind Empire is nearby," Lu Chi said. "I don't need anything." Chu Hen nodded slightly, his torch-like eyes sweeping across everyone in the hall. "Ordinary troops won't be of much use. This time, I need true martial arts experts." "True martial arts experts?" Everyone was stunned again. Su Hao continued. "Brother Chu Hen, the Su family is willing to go all out." "Thank you, family head Su." Chu Hen nodded gratefully. "Even so, it's still difficult to go against the Sacred Star Empire." Shi Wanli was a little doubtful. He had fought alongside General Longbow for 20 years, so he knew very well how many generals and experts the Sacred Star Empire had. They couldn't compare to them. Chu Hen's eyelids twitched, and his lips curled up slightly. Chapter 580. Who are you? Who dares to trespass on Green Willow Manor? Could it be that you're tired of living? Outside a luxurious manor, green willows formed a shade, and water blended with the sky and the water. It was a rare and beautiful place. At this moment, the guards outside the manor stared at the dozen or so people coming their way. They were all young men and women, but each of them had an extraordinary aura. If you come any closer, don't blame us for being impolite, seeing that the group in front of them had no intention of stopping. The guards at the gate put on a fierce expression and placed their hands on their weapons, ready to attack. "Long Qingyang is here." Long Qingyang took a step forward and shouted. The powerful impetus was like a thunderclap as it whistled by, causing everyone at the entrance to be blasted to the ground, and they crawled up in panic while revealing astonished expressions. "Long Qingyang, hurry! Hurry up and report to the manor lord." "What for? Aren't you going to let us in?" Chi Tong stepped forward and roared. This time, everyone was so scared that they threw away their weapons. "Hey, big guy, don't be so rude. We're here as guests, so we should be more polite, right?" Chu Hen. On the side, Lu Chi covered her mouth and smiled, winking at Chu Hen. Chu Hen's handsome eyebrows raised slightly, smiling as he looked at the flustered guards at the door, and said, "I wonder if Manor Lord Hai is here?" Who are you?" a guard asked timidly. "Please inform Manor Lord Hai that Chu Hen is here to visit." "What? You're Chu Hen?" Everyone was scared out of their wits when they heard this name. Their faces were pale and filled with fear. You wait here, I'll go. You want us to wait here? I dare you to say that again." Chi Tong roared once more. Chi Tong was tall and stocky, and his eyes were like a mad bull that was about to explode. No ordinary person dared to look him in the eye. Everyone shuddered in fear and quickly changed their words. No. Please come in. Please come in. At least you're tactful." The guard wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and led everyone into the manor with a smile. Chu Hen and Long Qingyang walked in front, while the others followed closely behind. After entering the Green Willow Manor, many strange and beautiful sceneries greeted their eyes. Gardens, waterside pavilions, and towers. The emerald green willow trees swayed gracefully like tassels. This beautiful scenery was even more beautiful than the imperial gardens in the imperial palace. "This place is really beautiful," Luo Mengchong said casually. If Miss Mengchong likes it, you can ask Chu Hen to bring it down for you," Lu Chi said. "That's a good idea. In a few days, the Green Willow Manor will no longer exist in this world." Everyone laughed and chatted without any hesitation. The complexions of the Green Willow Manor guards changed again and again. They were alarmed again and again, wondering what this group of people wanted to do. Just as they entered the lobby, a flurry of hurried footsteps could be heard. Then 7 or 8 figures with strong auras walked in. The person in the lead was the master of the Green Willow Manor, Hai Buwang. "Master, The guards looked as if they had seen their savior. Hai Buwang's face was gloomy. He waved his hand and gestured for them to leave. May I know why young Master Chu and Chief Long have come to my humble abode? Hai Buwang's tone was not friendly. To be honest, he had been worried that Chu Hen would come to settle the score with him. Today, Chu Hen had indeed come. Chu Hen smiled slightly. Without waiting for the other party to speak, he swaggered to the master's seat in the middle of the main hall and sat down. An old man standing behind Hai Buwang wanted to scold him, but he was stopped by Hai Buwang. Manor Lord Hai, I have come here today to discuss something with you. Master Chu Hen, please speak your mind, Hai Buwang replied coldly. I need the Green Willow Manor to do me a favor. Chu Hen was calm and unwavering. What favor? It's simple. Help me deal with the Sacred Star Empire. What? Hai Buwang's expression changed, and he stared at Chu Hen in shock. He tried to see if Chu Hen was joking, but he cannot find it. What kind of joke is this? You want to fight against the Sacred Star Empire? You must be dreaming. You only need to answer me. Do you agree or not? Chu Hen said, I'm not going to die. If there's nothing else, you may leave. I still have important matters to attend to. Hai Buwang didn't even think about it before he refused and directly asked him to leave. However, Chu Hen did not have any intention of leaving. His gaze gradually became deep and the smile on the corner of his mouth remained gentle. Since Master Hai is not willing to work with me, let's settle another score. Under Huangfu Yunxia's instigation, you attacked my brother and caused the family of generals to suffer great losses. I wonder how Master Hai is going to compensate us? What kind of compensation do you want? Hai Buwang's expression turned ugly. This little bastard was simply too arrogant. It was true that he was wary of him, but it wasn't to the extent that he was afraid of him. Moreover, this was the Green Willow Manor with many experts. In Hai Buwang's territory, no matter how powerful Chu Hen was, he might not be able to win if they were to fight. The atmosphere in the hall was heavy. However, Chu Hen's face was calm and unruffled. He slowly smiled and said, It's very simple. Just give me your manor, Lord Hai's life. What? Hai Buwang was instantly enraged, and his anger rose to the sky. A strong murderous intent exploded from his body. You're looking for... Before he could say the word die, a ghost-like figure flashed in front of everyone. Hai Buwang's pupils constricted violently. Before he could react, an extremely cold and eerie aura assaulted him from behind. At the same time, the strong aura that he emitted was instantly suppressed. I dare you to try and move. A frivolous voice rang out beside Hai Buwang's ear. Everyone's heart was startled. They saw that Chu Hen, who was sitting on the chair a second ago, was now standing behind Hai Buwang. He was so fast that no one present could catch up. A drop of cold sweat appeared on Hai Buwang's forehead. He suddenly realized that he had underestimated Chu Hen. If they were to fight, Chu Hen could kill him in one move. What do you want? I've already said that if you help me deal with the Sacred Star Empire, the grudges between us will be written off. Moreover, after this is done, I will give you a generous reward. Of course, if you don't agree. Chu Hen paused. He raised his eyelids and said calmly, Then from today onwards, the Green Willow Manor will no longer exist in the Hidden Wind region. Chu Hen, will do what I say. You? A threat, a blatant threat. The expressions of Hai Buwang and the experts of the Green Willow Manor changed again and again. This person was so young, but they did not expect him to be so ruthless. Why should I believe you? I can't promise you anything, but I can be sure that the person at the front will definitely be me. Chu Hen, his casual tone revealed his confidence that could not be concealed. Hai Buwang took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and then opened them again. All right, I promise you. Thank you, Manor Master Hai. As soon as he finished speaking, Chu Hen lightly patted Hai Buwang's shoulder. The latter's right hand was involuntarily raised into the air. Senior Yin understood. Yin Hanlu understood tacitly. Her figure moved, and she flashed in front of Hai Buwang. A powerful spiritual force gushed out from her Naiwan palace. Yin Hanlu gently raised her jade hand, and the rich spiritual force circulated at her fingertips. In the blink of an eye, It transformed into several tens of dazzling runes. Buzz, buzz! The space faintly trembled, and Yin Hanliu's slender, white finger pointed at the back of Hai Buwang's hand with lightning speed. Hai Buwang's expression changed greatly. Before he could react, he felt a numbing sensation on the back of his hand. In the next instant, the runes on the back of his hand moved like blue veins. Then, they turned into a dark red rune that looked like a skull. Heart-rending ghost rune. Hai Buwang's eyes widened in anger, and he glared at Chu Hen and the others. When the people of the Green Willow Manor heard the words heart-rending ghost rune, their faces turned deathly pale. This was an extremely tyrannical rune technique, and it was specially used to control death warriors. After being inscribed with a heart-rending ghost rune, it would not immediately activate. Instead, it would have a long incubation period. However, once the incubation period was over, the power of the ghost rune would activate. At that time, it would be a fate worse than death, and one's internal organs would feel like they were about to split open. Who are you? Why do you know how to set up a heart-rending ghost rune? Hai Buwang glared at Yin Hanliu. He wanted to see a hint of avoidance in Yin Hanliu's eyes so that he could determine if this was the real heart-rending ghost rune. After all, ordinary people would not be able to come into contact with this rune technique. However, Yin Hanliu's eyes were as calm as the water in a well, and there was only a hint of disdain on his face. Allow me to introduce you. This is one of the 7 absolute prodigies, Absolute Formation, a core disciple of the Thousand Crane sect, Yin Hanliu. Chu Hen said indifferently. A Absolute Formation? Hai Buwang's lips trembled slightly, and then his eyes became dim. Manor Master Hai, don't be discouraged. Chu Hen continued. The heart-rending ghost rune will need at least half a year to activate. Once you've finished what you promised me, I'll definitely help you undo this technique. Hai Buwang gnashed his teeth in hatred. This time, he was completely screwed. There was no way out. Apart from agreeing to Chu Hen, he had no other choice. You win. Thank you for the compliment. Chu Hen's smile was exceptionally shameless in Hai Buwang's eyes. In truth, Chu Hen had only done this to be safe. After all, these old fellows had fought in the Hidden Wind region for most of their lives. When dealing with them, one had to be careful. Otherwise, no one would know who would be the one to speak in the end. Now that Hai Buwang's life was in Chu Hen's hands, there was no need to worry about Hai Buwang's schemes. Chapter 581. Chu Hen, aren't you a little too ruthless? In a lavishly dressed hall in Sword Crafting City, City Lord Pei Xiao looked at the heart-rending ghost talisman with the pattern of a skull on the back of his hand and flew into a rage. He pointed at Chu Hen and cursed. I've already agreed to help you deal with the Sacred Star Empire, yet you're still using such a despicable method against me. What are your intentions? Facing the furious Pei Xiao, Chu Hen was rather calm. City Lord Pei, why are you so angry? When we return from the Sacred Star Empire, I will naturally help you undo it. You make it sound so easy. Pei Xiao was even more furious. He said angrily, what if you die in the Sacred Star Empire? Do I have to fucking die with you? The moment he said this, the face of Green Willow Manor's Manor Lord Hai Buwang, who had been standing silently behind Chu Hen, instantly paled. That's right. How could I forget about this? What if Chu Hen fails? You two don't have to worry about this. Chu Hen glanced at the two of them, then said, I've already sent the method to undo the heart-rending ghost talisman to the Misty Wind Empire. If this operation fails, or if I lose my life in the Imperial City, you can ask the Misty Wind Empire for the method to undo it. Hearing Chu Hen's words, Pei Xiao and Hai Buwang's expressions relaxed a little. However, they still hated Chu Hen to the core. In this way, they had no choice but to be led by the nose. Chu Hen laughed inwardly. These old fellows were each more cunning than the other. If he wasn't ruthless, he really wouldn't be able to suppress them. If he didn't hold their lives in his hands, it was hard to guarantee that they wouldn't secretly ally with the Sacred Star Empire. Therefore, Chu Hen had to eliminate all possible dangers. Do you two have any other questions? If not, we'll be going to the Heavenly Beast Sect next. Chu Hen said indifferently. The two exchanged glances, and Pei Xiao let out a disdainful sneer. I have to remind you that Dong Wahong, that old bastard, isn't someone that you can casually order around. His temper is famous in the Hidden Wind region. If you want to control him, you'll need to go back and think of a countermeasure. Chu Hen raised his eyebrows, raised his hand slightly, and said, "You don't have to worry about this." Humph. Pei Xiao grunted lightly and didn't say anything further. Chu Hen, Long Qingyang, Luo Mengshang, and the others headed for the Heavenly Bee Sect with Pei Xiao and Haibawan. The area where the Heavenly Bee Sect was located was surrounded by mountains and rivers. Not only was this sect famous in the Hidden Wind region, but it was also considered a rather unique force in the entire province. Taming beasts in battle. Humans and beasts coexisted. After going through rigorous training, they had a tacit understanding of each other. Their combat power was not as simple as 1+1. Of course, training demon beasts as battle companions was a very challenging thing in itself. However, the Heavenly Bee Sect had its own training method. From the beginning until now, the Heavenly Bee Sect had tamed a flaming tiger legion, a giant hawk legion, and an armored earth dragon legion with the strongest combat power. Rumor had it that the armored earth dragon was a shelled demon beast with extremely strong combat power and defense. An adult armored earth dragon would at least have the strength of a peak rank 9 spirit beast, and some of them could even grow to the level of a beast king. This was equivalent to commanding a group of void-piercing experts to fight together. In fact, the Heavenly Bee Sect was the force with the strongest combat power in the Hidden Wind region. If the Heavenly Bee Sect had directly sent out the Armored Earth Dragon Legion when they attacked Lang City would probably have been destroyed in just a short while. Approximately an hour later, under the guidance of the disciples guarding the entrance of the Heavenly Beast Sect, Chu Hen and the others entered the sect. When they found out that the newcomers were Chu Hen and Long Qingyang from Lang City, the people of the Heavenly Bee Sect looked very serious. The interior of the Heavenly Bee Sect was extremely vast. At a glance, there were many beast taming grounds, and almost everyone was accompanied by a demon beast. Apart from the Flaming Tiger Legion, the Giant Hawk Legion, and the Armored Earth Dragon Legion, there were many other kinds of demon beasts, such as small and exquisite cats and rabbits, huge raging bulls, and fire pythons with red bodies. These demon beasts, which were usually ferocious, were now tamed like domestic dogs. The Heavenly Beast Sect is really something, Qi Tong said with some surprise. Lucci nodded. This sect is indeed special. If they're given a certain amount of time to develop, there's a high chance they'll make a name for themselves. The main thing is that the Hidden Wind region is too small, Yin Hanlu added. Yin Hanlu continued. The number of demonic beasts living here is limited, unless they are close to the 10,000 Beast Ridge or Mang Mountain Forest. Then the Heavenly Beast Sect might not be able to become a first-rate force one day. Everyone had a very high opinion of the Heavenly Beast Sect. After all, there were very few people who could train demon beasts to the point of being extremely close to humans. But then again, although there were many kinds of demon beasts in places like 10,000 Beast Ridge and Mang Mountain Forest, the demon beasts that lived there were also very powerful. If they didn't have enough strength, ordinary sects and forces wouldn't be able to survive there at all. Combining all these reasons, the development of the Heavenly Beast Sect was still rather limited. I wonder what business all of you have come to my Heavenly Beast Sect for. They'd only just walked in the front courtyard and hadn't even reached the main hall when Dong Wahong's deep voice sounded out. Dong Wahong had brought a few experts of the Heavenly Beast Sect over from afar, and beside him was a completely jet-black leopard. This leopard wasn't very large, and was only slightly larger than an ordinary black leopard. However, the aura it emitted was exceptionally heart-palpitating, and upon closer inspection, one would be able to discover that the leopard's foreclaws were surrounded by circles of silver lightning markings. With every step it took, the lightning markings that covered its claws would lightly spread out like ripples on the surface of water. Black lightning leopard. Jishu, who stood behind Chu Hen, raised her beautiful brows, and she spoke with slight surprise. I never expected that I would be able to see this type of demon beast here. What? Is it very rare? Qi Tong asked. Jishu nodded. Yes, There are very few purebred black lightning leopards. This type of demon beast's outer appearance is comparatively ordinary, but adult black lightning leopards are capable of growing to the strength of a 7th-grade beast king. Its speed is extremely swift, and it possesses the energy of the lightning attribute, and it can transform into lightning attacks. After he finished listening to Jishu's description, Dong Wahong, who walked over to stand before everyone, was slightly surprised. In fact, there were very few people in the Hidden Wind region that knew of the Black Lightning Leopard. After all, its figure was too small, and people that didn't know what it was would only take it to be an ordinary black leopard. Once they recovered from their shock, the black leopard would have already left, or their chest would have been pierced by the Black Lightning Leopard's sharp claws. There was only a single purebred Black Lightning Leopard in the Hidden Wind region, and it was the one by Dong Wahong's side. The faces of Dong Wahong and the others carried slightly arrogant expressions. Truthfully speaking, Dong Wahong had indeed been shocked by Chu Hen when he was in Yishui City that day. But Chu Hen had personally come knocking on his door today, and Dong Wahong wasn't afraid of him. The Heavenly Beast sect possessed 3 great demon beast legions, and Dong Wahong was especially confident towards his own armored WYRM corps. As far as he was concerned, if Chu Hen wanted to behave atrociously here, then he would have to weigh the ability of all of them. Sect leader Donghua, aren't you going to invite me in to have a seat? Chu Hen lightly smiled. I'm sorry, I'm rather busy today. Young Master Chu Hen, speak if you have something to say. If there's nothing else, then please leave. Dong Wahong didn't give Chu Hen face in the slightest. Oomph, you're pretty arrogant. Cheating stood out with a displeased expression. What? All you want to make a move? Dong Wahong's tone was slightly cold. Roar. At the same time, the Black Lightning Leopard by his foot couldn't help but bow its body as it emitted a low and deep warning sound from its throat, and its pair of green pupils that were like sharp swords stared fixedly at Chi-Tung. Everyone didn't doubt in the slightest that so long as Chi-Tung dared move, Black Lightning Leopard would transform into a bolt of lightning and pounce over. However, Chi-Tung wasn't a pushover. I fucking like eating cat meat the most. Chu Hen, you don't mind if I slaughter this black cat and drag it back to accompany everyone's wine, right? Chu Hen smiled, yet he had the intention of allowing Chi-Tung to act arrogantly. Dong Wahong's expression sank slightly, and he said in a low voice, Do all of you want to cause trouble here? No. Chu Hen raised his hand, and his smile remained warm. I came to look for Sect Leader Donghua today for 2 matters. The first is to ask Sect Leader Donghua to cooperate with me and deal with the Saint Star dynasty. What? Dong Wahong was shocked in his heart, yet he quickly recovered his calm. Then what's the second matter? It depends on your choice. If you agree, then we'll discuss the second matter. If Sect Leader agrees, then there's only this one. As soon as these words were spoken, Dong Wahong's eyes couldn't help but narrow. As the leader of a sect, he naturally understood the meaning behind Chu Hen's words. Are you threatening me? Dong Wahong replied coldly. Sort of. Chu Hen admitted it generously. As soon as he finished speaking, the atmosphere in the surroundings instantly became slightly cold and solemn. Dong Wahong instinctively glanced at Hai Buwang and Pei Xiao, who remained silent. Just moments ago, he was still wondering why these 2 old fellows would suddenly be together with Chu Hen, and it turned out that they were controlled by Chu Hen. What a good little bastard. You actually have the ability to capture the 2 of them. But I, Dong Wahong, am not a coward like them. You want my Heavenly Beast sect to sell our lives for you? Dream on. Dong Wahong's tone was especially resolute. But this sort of situation was within the expectations of everyone. The entire Hidden Wind region knew that Dong Wahong's temper was extremely inflexible, so how could he lower his head to a junior around the age of 20? Hai Buwang and Pei Xiao glanced at each other. At the same time that they were slightly angry and embarrassed, they were secretly delighted. Chu Hen came filled with confidence, so let's see how he deals with this. I think Sect Leader Donghua has slightly misunderstood. Chu Hen was still composed, but Dong Wahong didn't intend to give Chu Hen any more time, and he directly waved his hand to drive him away. I'll say it one more time. The Heavenly Beast sect will absolutely not cooperate with you. If you're displeased, then let's go to war. In this hidden wind region, my heavenly beast sect has never been afraid of anyone. Dong Wahong had already made up his mind. As far as he was concerned, going against the Saint Star dynasty with Chu Hen was completely going to give one's life away. Moreover, if he stayed in the hidden wind region and started a battle with Chu Hen, then he would still have a chance of survival. Dong Wahong had his own judgment on which was more important. Chapter 582. I'll say it again, the Heavenly Beast sect will absolutely not work together with all of you. If you're displeased, then let's go to war. My Heavenly Beast sect has never feared anyone in the Hidden Wind region. Dong Wahong's display was especially unyielding within his own sect. He directly pulled the atmosphere between both sides to a freezing point. Long Qingyang, Qi Wanli, Qi Tung, and the others had already frowned. Only Chu Hen still stood on the spot with a composed expression, but his deep pupils faintly surged with icy coldness. Roar! Suddenly, right at this moment, a furious roar of a demon beast sounded out from the rear area of the Heavenly Beast sect. What followed was the trembling of the ground. Dong Wahong frowned slightly as his gaze moved left and right, and then he waved his hand and said, I still have matters to attend to, so forgive me for not accompanying you. Send these distinguished guests away. Yes, sect leader. The Heavenly Beast sect directly ordered them to leave. On the other hand, Dong Wahong paid no further attention to Chu Hen's group, and he turned around and left hastily. I was right? You're unable to make Dong Wahong listen to you. The Swordsmith City Governor, Pei Xiao, sneered as he took pleasure in Dong Wahong's misfortune. He felt rather happy in his heart to be able to see Chu Hen suffer a setback. The Villa Master of Green Willow Manor, Hai Buwang, spoke in a negotiating tone. Young Master Chu, without Dong Wahong's demon beast army, the probability of invading the Saint Star dynasty will be even smaller. I think you should stop thinking about this and undo the Heartrend Ghost Talisman as soon as possible. We'll help you once you've dealt with Dong Wahong. What do you think? Fuck, you two old foxes. You can even think of this? Cheating couldn't help but curse. Chu Hen smiled, yet remained silent, as he didn't intend to return empty-handed today. Third brother, what do we do now? Long Qingyang frowned as he asked. Coincidentally, another powerful roar of a demon beast sounded out at this moment. Roar. This roar was even more deterring than before, and the ground beneath everyone's feet trembled even more intensely. Chu Hen's gaze swept across the surroundings, only to see the fear in the eyes of the demonic beasts. Don't all of you want to see exactly what treasures sect leader Donghua has hidden in his backyard? Everyone's heart skipped a beat when they heard this. Then, everyone, including Pei Xiao and Hai Buwang, revealed curious expressions. Roar. In the backyard of the Heavenly Beast sect, the furious roars of wild beasts could be heard. The closer they got to the back, the stronger the impact of the invisible sound waves. Sovereign, the sure yin evil dragon beast, has been angrier than before. Its resistance is getting stronger every day. Dong Wahong took a step forward and walked to the spacious training ground in the backyard, and a few beast tamers of the Heavenly Beast sect hurriedly ran over to him. I understand. Dong Wahong waved his hand and replied in a low voice. After that, an enormous iron cage appeared in everyone's line of sight. The iron cage was 100 meters tall. It was forged from the toughest steel she embodied. A heavenly net was set up in the sky above the iron cage. A few tens of strong and robust men stood outside the iron cage, and they held bows and arrows in their hands as they ceaselessly shot at the enormous ferocious beast that was 30 to 40 meters wide within the cage. This was a demon beast with a savage and terrifying appearance. Its appearance was like a comparatively short WYRM. Its claws were sharp and strong, and it had fiery red wings of flesh on its back. Its entire body was covered in a thick layer of rock, and it looked like a strange dragon that was piled up from rocks. Its might shook the heavens and shook the heavens. Merely from its outward appearance, one could determine that this was absolutely an extraordinary, ferocious beast. Roar. This ferocious beast resisted and struggled intensely, and 5 thick and heavy dark iron chains coiled around its claws and neck. The iron chains were inscribed with numerous and complicated talisman markings. Obviously, these talisman markings were used to suppress the strength of this ferocious beast. The ferocious beast struggled intensely, causing the iron chains to ceaselessly emit heavy sounds of colliding and interweaving. The ferocious beast within the iron cage became even more furious when it saw Dong Wahong's group arrive. Its enormous eyes that were like flames stared fiercely at Dong Wahong, and it had a rage that seemed as if it wished for nothing more than to swallow Dong Wahong alive. Oomph. This beast is still so stubborn. Dong Wahong's eyes squinted as he signaled an old man by his side with his eyes, and the latter nodded and said in a loud voice, "Continue shooting with the ice soul arrows." Yes. The few tens of men outside the iron chains replied in unison, and then they raised the bows in their hands to aim at the ferocious beast within the cage. Swish, swish, swish. Numerous sharp arrows swept up ghastly coldness as they whistled over, and these arrows instantly shattered into ice when they struck the thick rock armor of the ferocious beast. Along with a wave of cracking sounds, the temperature within the iron cage dropped rapidly as extremely cold mist rose up, and a layer of thick ice swiftly condensed on the surface of the enormous body of the ferocious beast. Roar! The ferocious beast was even more infuriated, and it didn't have the slightest intention of submitting. The iron chains that coiled around its body flickered with waves of light as talisman markings lit up, and it ceaselessly suppressed the might of the ferocious beast. An elder of the heavenly beast sect revealed a worried expression as he said, "Sect leader, this beast is becoming more and more irritable, and I'm truly worried that we won't be able to suppress it one day." Another old man shook his head as well. "We've already trained it for 7 years, yet this beast's vicious aura hasn't reduced, but has increased instead, and its strength is growing stronger and stronger." Alas, Dong Wahong's eyes squinted slightly as he spoke in a low voice. "It's precisely because we've exhausted an extremely great amount of energy and price on it that we can't give up. Otherwise, the hard work of these 7 years would have been in vain. But its wild nature is difficult to tame, and blindly wasting time like this isn't a solution. But all you have to think about how brilliant the future of the Heavenly Beast sect would be once we subdue it. I still have to rely on it to charge out of the Windvale region and become an overlord." Dong Wahong's eyes emitted a burning light that wasn't concealed. This demon beast, called the Rock Evil Dragon, was found by the Heavenly Beast sect by chance in a mountain range of demon beasts at the border of the 100 Kingdom region all those years ago. At that time, they'd only brought back an infant. They'd gone through untold hardships before being able to secretly transport it back to the Windvale region. The Rock Evil Dragon was a top race amongst Beast Kings, and an adult Rock Evil Dragon was capable of attaining the level of a Grade 8 or even a Grade 9 Beast King. Moreover, there was even a 1 in 1,000 chance that a Rock Evil Dragon at the level of a Beast Monarch would appear. It was comparable to the overlord of the Evil Dragon tribe. Possessing a demon beast at the level of a Beast Monarch was equivalent to possessing a top expert at the Earth Profound stage. This was absolutely something that the Heavenly Beast sect of the past didn't even dare think about, until they brought back the infant of the Rock Evil Dragon. The Heavenly Beast sect seemed to have seen the hope of rising up. Thus, the mission of training the Rock Evil Dragon was silently carried out. However, the difficulty of taming a formidable demon beast that had a 1 in 1,000 chance of becoming a Beast Monarch had far exceeded the Heavenly Beast sect's expectations. For a continuous period of over 7 years, the Heavenly Beast sect had spent a great amount of manpower, wealth, and material resources on the Rock Evil Dragon. But not only did it not show any signs of submitting, it instead resisted more and more fiercely. Presently, in over 7 years of time, the Rock Evil Dragon had already grown to the level of a Grade 6 Beast King by relying on its formidable demon beast bloodline and the meticulous training of the Heavenly Beast sect. But the plan to tame it for their own use didn't make the slightest bit of progress. Every time, Dong Wahong would be able to feel that the rock evil dragon only had dense hatred towards him, and this caused the entire heavenly beast sect to suffer a heavy blow. So much so that many higher-ups had the thought of giving up. But Dong Wahong didn't want to let go. Even if it was a 1 in 1,000 chance for the heavenly beast sect to obtain a formidable existence at the level of a beast monarch, it was still worth a gamble. A level 9 Beast King Rock Evil Dragon was sufficient to allow the heavenly beast sect to become the overlord of a dynasty. Chapter 583. Roar. In the heavenly beast sect's backyard training ground, a thunderous roar resounded. Ice soul arrows rained down on the Serene evil dragon's body. In the blink of an eye, its body was already covered with a thick layer of ice crystals. Layers upon layers of chi waves filled the air. The extremely cold air couldn't stop the Serene evil dragon's struggle. All of a sudden, the Serene evil dragon raised its head high and opened its mouth. Along with a wave of scorching air, a scarlet pillar of fire gushed out from its mouth. Buzz! The raging flames directly passed through the iron cage's railings and pounced on the sturdy men holding bows and crossbows. What? Step back! An elder of the heavenly beast sect shouted. However, Shurian's evil dragon beast attack was too unexpected. The powerful fire pillar swept over the group of people in a row, along with a series of panic screams. Those people were directly burned into a bloody mess. Only a few people managed to escape in time. Bang! Immediately after, the Shurian evil dragon's anger rose. The thick layer of ice covering its body was directly shattered and exploded, turning into countless ice crystal fragments. The cold and hot air waves spread out like waves. This damned beast is becoming more and more rebellious. Sectmaster, it's time to give it a heavy blow, an old man said. Dong Wahong's cold eyes swept across as he slightly raised his hand. Swoosh! The black thunder leopard beside him suddenly turned into a shadow and flew out. With a whistling sound, the black thunder leopard, relying on its small body, directly rushed into the space between the iron cage's railings and pounced on the huge demon beast in the cage. Roar! Facing the black thunder leopard, the Shurian evil dragon arched its body, and its huge fiery red eyes revealed a strong disdain. It raised its huge, sharp claws and attacked the opponent. The huge claws moved the iron chains that bound it, setting off a burst of crashing sounds. Bang! Shurian's evil dragon beast's claw fiercely collided with the dark thunder leopard's skinny body. A burst of silver light splashed out and dazzling lightning bloomed. While the black thunder leopard was sent flying, Shurian's evil dragon was also pushed back a few meters. Roar! The black thunder leopard's black fur stood on end as it let out a high-pitched roar. He landed steadily on the bars of the iron cage behind him, then took a step back and shot out once again. This time, its speed was many times faster than before. As it moved, the black thunder leopard released a bright silver light and immediately turned into a bolt of lightning with an extremely powerful aura. Boom! The bright silver lightning hit the center of Shurian Evil Dragon's chest, and a circle of strong air waves swept out. The light between the two of them was as dazzling as the sun. Under the terrifying impact, Shurian's evil dragon was pushed back once again. At the same time, the rock armor on his chest cracked inwards, and dark red blood flowed out. Good. As expected of the black thunder leopard. Let's see if that untactful beast still dares to make noise. An elder of the heavenly beast sect applauded. Sectmaster, the black thunder leopard is a 6th grade beast king. This Shurian's evil dragon beast's strength and movement are greatly restricted, but can still fight against it head-on. It seems that it won't be long before it breaks through again and reaches the 7th grade beast king level. Another elder solemnly said. Dong Wahong nodded with a thoughtful expression. Boom! Bang! The fierce battle between the two fierce beasts in the iron cage could be said to be exceptionally fierce. The collision of tyrannical power was like the collision of mountains, shaking in all directions. Sparks flew everywhere, demonic energy flew everywhere, and violent energy shock waves came one after another, as if they were going to burst the iron cage. Roar! After another fierce collision, the Black Thunder Leopard's figure flashed and directly flew above Shi Yan's evil dragon beast. A violent aura burst out from his body, and his green pupils were throbbing with raging lightning. Hiss, hiss! In the next instant, countless terrifying and powerful bolts of lightning were released from the Black Thunder Leopard's body, and the lightning interweaved like the loud cries of 1,000 birds. The might of an overwhelming force pierced down diagonally and completely struck the enormous body of Shi Yan's evil dragon beast. Roar! A myriad of lightning bolts entered its body, and Shi Yan's evil dragon beast roared madly in rage. Instantly, dense and powerful electric currents flowed all over its body, and Shi Yan's evil dragon beast trembled as the pair of fleshy wings on its back flapped violently, giving rise to waves of turbulent airwaves. Humph. Well done. We should have let the Black Thunder Leopard fight long ago. Sect Master, I suggest letting the Black Thunder Leopard participate in Shi Yan's evil dragon beast training in the future. Exactly. I don't believe it won't listen if we shock it a few times every day. When they saw Shi Yan's evil dragon beast displaying an unusual pain under the impact of the formidable lightning bolts, the members of the Heavenly Beast sect that were tortured these past few days felt extremely relieved. However, Dong Wahong frowned from beginning to end, and he kept having the feeling that something wasn't right. Exactly where did it go wrong? Dong Wahong's eyes slightly squinted as he gazed at Shi Yan's evil dragon beast within the iron cage, and he saw electric currents that were like silver arcs of light flowing all over its body, emitting an extremely violent and destructive aura. The talisman markings on the 5 thick and heavy iron chains that bound its 4 limbs and neck flickered with a strange light that flickered between brightness and dimness. Because of those talisman markings, these 5 iron chains possessed a sealing force that was able to effectively suppress Shi Yan's evil dragon beast's demonic energy and prevent it from breaking out of the cage. All of this seemed to be without the slightest problem. Right at this moment, Dong Wahong saw Shi Yan's evil dragon beast pair of red and fierce eyes. Instantly, Dong Wahong's expression went grim. Relying on his experience of dealing with demon beasts for a few tens of years, Dong Wahong could be 100% sure that Shi Yan's evil dragon beast's eyes didn't contain the slightest trace of pain. It was similar to the complacency and ridicule of humans. We've fallen into a trap. Everyone has been tricked by it. Stop. Dong Wahong hurriedly berated the Black Thunder Leopard in an enraged voice. It's gathering the energy of lightning to break through the seal on the iron chains. What? Dong Wahong's enraged shout was like a thunderclap that exploded in the minds of everyone present, and everyone turned pale with fright. Roar! In the next second, Shi Yan's evil dragon beast suddenly became enraged, and then the dazzling energy of lightning that covered its body emitted a brilliant light before exploding like a volcano. Rumble! The terrifyingly formidable lightning attack was divided into 5 parts that gushed towards the 5 iron chains that bound it. Bang, bang, bang. A wave of sparks flew as lightning interweaved. Deafening loud bangs resounded, and the beautiful talisman markings on the iron chains suffered an extremely strong impact, causing them to lose their original luster in an instant. Countless fine cracks swiftly split open on the iron chains. Shi Yan's evil dragon beast emitted an excited roar that shook the heavens, and it swung its body, causing the thick and heavy iron chains that coiled around its body to break apart inch by inch before exploding into pieces. The monstrous aura of a ferocious beast shot into the 9 heavens. The berserk aura that had been suppressed for a long time was vented in an instant, and Shi Yan's evil dragon beast shed off all its burdens and struggled free of all restraints before erupting with the most terrifying, ferocious wildness. Damn it. Everyone from the Heavenly Beast sect was completely flustered. Even Dong Wahong's complexion changed. Before they had time to come up with any countermeasures, Shi Yan's evil dragon beast's ferocious aura stacked up as it smashed through the iron cage, tore apart the heavenly net, and released a powerful demonic force as it soared straight up into the sky. Rumble! The heavenly net that enveloped the sky was smashed into pieces by the impact, and Shi Yan's evil dragon beast stirred up the wind and clouds in all directions, blotting out the sky and covering the sun as it looked down at the panic-stricken crowd below, like a mountain pressing down on them. Roar! The aura emitted by Shi Yan's evil dragon beast rose steadily, and it instantly broke through the level of a 7th-level beast king. What was even more astonishing was that its body rapidly expanded, and in an instant, it had doubled in size. Black Lightning Leopard, what are you still standing there for? Quickly kill it! An elder of the heavenly beast sect shouted loudly. However, what caused everyone to be even more shocked was that the Black Lightning Leopard actually curled up in midair and didn't dare to move forward. Its green pupils were clearly filled with fear and reverence. Roar! Woo! Subsequently, all the big and small demonic beasts of the entire heavenly beast sect prostrated on the ground, and they emitted low and deep howls. There were even many demonic beasts that were shivering. It was as if they were subjects that had seen their king. This kind of fear originated from the difference in their bloodlines. Beast Emperor, this is a beast emperor, a senior old man said in a trembling voice. Only an existence with the bloodline of a beast emperor could make all the demonic beasts feel such fear, and only Shi Yan's evil dragon beast with the bloodline of a beast emperor could grow to such an extent in a short period of 7 years. Only a demonic beast with the bloodline of a beast emperor would be so difficult to tame. There was a 1 in 1,000 chance that the heavenly beast sect had really encountered it, and it was indeed an overlord existence among the Shi Yan's evil dragon beasts. However, Dong Wuhong wasn't the slightest bit happy at this moment. Once the beast emperor was out of the cage, it was completely impossible to capture it again. In the sky above the 9th heaven, dark clouds surged. Shi Yan's evil dragon beast's aura had directly reached the peak of the 7th-level beast king level, and its huge meaty wings swept up a frenzied hurricane. The rock skin on the surface of its body rapidly heated up, and it turned into a boiling deep red. Roar! In the next instant, a heat wave struck like a falling meteorite. Shi Yan's evil dragon beast set off an endless destructive aura as it swooped down towards the people of the heavenly beast sect below, and the terrifying oppressive feeling caused countless people to be unable to breathe. A thick threat of death rushed into everyone's heart. However, at this critical moment, a bright silver ray of light traversed across the void. Boom! A loud thunderclap resounded, and a monstrous, raging tide of energy exploded in the sky. The blue dome of heaven dimmed, and the earth lost its color. A fiery red halo swayed in the sky above the heavenly beast sect. Like ripples on the surface of the water, it swept out. The powerful airwave crushed down all the way, and countless disciples and demonic beasts of the heavenly beast sect were shaken to the ground. Houses and buildings collapsed with a loud rumble. The sky was about to collapse, and Shi Yan's evil dragon beast, whose ferocious aura shook the heavens, shockingly stopped in the sky. And below it, a young figure was holding its incomparably huge and hideous head with a single hand. Chapter 584. Boom! An unstoppable and powerful airwave crushed down all the way. Many disciples and demonic beasts of the heavenly beast sect were directly shaken to the ground. A large area of buildings collapsed with a loud bang, and a monstrous red halo spread out endlessly in the sky above the heavenly beast sect. The blue dome of heaven dimmed, and the earth lost its color. The bloodline of the Beast King was fierce and frightening. The sky was distorted, and the wild demonic power recklessly surged. The complexion of the people of the heavenly beast sect changed again and again, and their hearts were shocked again and again. The Shi Yan evil dragon, which was like a meteorite falling from the sky, suddenly stopped in the sky. The powerful, ferocious power was instantly suppressed. It's him. Dong Wuhong clenched his fists, his eyebrows knitted together, and his face was full of shock. He saw that under the terrifying beast, a young figure was emitting a heavy aura that was as steady as Mount Tai. Chu Hen raised one of his hands, and his palm pressed against the huge head of the serene, evil dragon. One man and one beast. The proportion of the body size was particularly uncoordinated. The opponent's claw was bigger than Chu Hen's whole body, and Chu Hen pressed against the opponent's huge body, and his arm didn't even tremble. It was as if he was lifting a heavy mountain, and his strength was enough to pull up the mountains and rivers. Roar! The serene, evil dragon let out a deep and angry roar, and its huge eyes emitted a strong, ferocious power. However, Chu Hen's eyes met with it. Without waiting for the serene, evil dragon to attack again, Chu Hen's eyes focused, and a strange power fluctuated. His deep pupils suddenly turned into a demonic purple. Buzz, buzz, violent power fluctuations spread between heaven and earth. The four black dots in the purple pupils rotated in a clockwise direction. Demon Eyes illusion technique. In an instant, the serene, evil dragon felt that the surrounding space had fallen into a distortion, and endless darkness swallowed the sky and the earth, directly shrouding it. Roar! The serene, evil dragon's eyes were filled with a lot of uneasiness. The boundless darkness was like a prison from hell that would never see the light of day. It subconsciously wanted to attack Chu Hen, but before it knew it, Chu Hen had already pulled away from it. Chu Hen, who was clearly in front of him a second ago, was now standing 100 meters away. He stood quietly in the darkness, as if he was an emperor who controlled the life and death of this space. A pair of huge purple eyes suddenly appeared behind Chu Hen. They were like the eyes of the ancient demon god that was about to pass judgment on his evil dragon. Roar! Shurien's evil dragon became more and more restless. Its heart was trembling. It was really trembling. The young man in front of it gave it the urge to submit. The power of illusion quickly spread out. In just a few blinks of an eye, Shurien's evil dragon beast seemed to have sunk into a quagmire. Its terrifying aura was suppressed to the extreme. Whoosh! Chu Hen gazed at Shurien's evil dragon beast and said with an indifferent voice, "Serve me for 50 years. Today, I will spare your life. After 50 years, I will give you back your freedom." The majestic voice made it hard for Shurien's evil dragon beast to resist. It stared at Chu Hen in front of it. After struggling for a while, the murderous aura in its eyes gradually subsided. What's going on? What does that guy want to do? People of the celestial beast sect looked at the scene in the sky with a puzzled face. Chu Hen was still pressing his hand on Shurien's evil dragon beast's head. However, unexpectedly, the murderous aura of Shurien's evil dragon beast gradually calmed down. How is this possible? What sorcery did he use? It should be known that Shurien's evil dragon beast had been trained by the celestial beast sect for 7 years, but its murderous aura had never subsided. Who would have thought that in such a short period of time, Chu Hen would be able to pacify its rage? In the next moment, Chu Hen suddenly turned over and steadily landed on Shurien's evil dragon beast's head. Roar! Accompanied by an earth-shaking roar, a transcendent and terrifying pressure pressed down. People of the celestial beast sect, who had just steadied themselves, almost fell to the ground. Chu Hen stood proudly on the evil dragon beast sect's head, looking down at Dong Wahong and the others. His bearing was extraordinary, and his sharpness was fully revealed. Everyone in the room was stunned. Not only Dong Wahong and the people of the celestial beast sect, Hai Buong of Green Willow Manor, Pei Xiao of Swordcrafting City, as well as Long Qingyang, Qi Teng, Yin Hanlu, and the others were all astonished. Shurien's evil dragon beast sect didn't shake off Chu Hen, allowing him to step on its head. It was obvious that this 7th-level Beast King Demon Beast with the bloodline of a Beast Emperor had submitted to Chu Hen. Chu Hen had only used a few seconds to accomplish the task that the Celestial Beast sect had spent 7 years to accomplish. As the saying went, only the strong could truly make others submit to them. Chu Hen, return Shurien's evil dragon beast to us, and I promise to help you deal with the Sacred Star Empire. Dong Wahong shouted in a deep voice. The people of the Celestial Beast sect all looked solemn, and their expressions turned serious. However, Chu Hen revealed a frivolous smile. Haha, sect leader Donghua, you've misunderstood for the very beginning. Chu Hin, didn't come looking for you today to beg you to cooperate with me. Let me ask you, what qualifications do you have to negotiate with me? Roar. Accompanied by an earth-shaking roar, the aura that Chu Hin emitted was like a mountain, oppressing everyone so much that they couldn't breathe. Previously, when Chu Hin and the others had entered the Celestial Beast sect, Dong Wuhong had put on an arrogant attitude. But now he had been beaten to the point that he had to raise his head to look at the other party. Long Qingyang, Qi Tung, Qi Wanli, and the others naturally felt refreshed. However, Hai Buang and Pei Xiao kept quiet and didn't say anything else. Even though they had always thought that Chu Hin was a ruthless character that was very difficult to deal with, they had still underestimated him. The bloodline of the evil dragon was so noble and strong that it caused all the demon beasts of the Celestial Beast sect to prostrate on the ground and not dare move rashly. How could the Celestial Beast sect resist this? How could Dong Wuhong discuss terms with Chu Hin? The words he said earlier, "If you're displeased, then let's go to war." My Celestial Beast sect has never been afraid of anyone in the region of Hidden Wind. Had become the greatest joke. They'd lost. They completely lost. Chu Hin gazed at Dong Wuhong and the others who had extremely unsightly expressions, and he said, "I'll be waiting for all of you at Lang City half a month from now. If sect leader Donghua is willing to come, then the Celestial Beast sect will be the ally of the Celestial Beast sect, and I, Chu Hin, will never treat my friends unfairly. If all of you look down on me, Chu Hin, then I won't force you. I've already said everything, so I'll take my leave now." These words that carried extremely deep meaning caused Dong Wuhong's heart to be unable to help but tremble. After that, Chu Hin didn't give Dong Wuhong any chance to speak, and he directly said to Long Qingyang and the others, "Let's go, roar." The celestial evil draconic beast flapped its wings and rose into the air, causing layer upon layer of monstrous waves of the sky as it carried Chu Hin away in a mighty manner. Manor Master Hai, City Governor Pei, see you at Lang City half a month from now. Long Qingyang lightly smiled as he left with the others from the Celestial Beast sect. Hai Buang and Pei Xiao exchanged glances, and they both saw the shock in each other's eyes. On the other hand, at this moment, Dong Wuhong couldn't help but fall into deep contemplation as he watched Chu Hin ride the celestial evil draconic beast into the horizon. Lang City. A wave of celebratory shouts resounded throughout the city. The faces of everyone in the city were filled with dense surprise as they gazed at the formidable demon beast that had descended onto the city wall. Haha, it was simply too satisfying. That old fellow Dong Wuhong's face turned green from anger in the end. Exactly. He was arrogant to the point of death earlier. Young Master Hen, you've truly made us look at you in a whole new light. With the assistance of this celestial evil draconic beast, our chances of attacking the imperial capital have increased greatly. In the short span of a day, the three major forces of the Hidden Wind region had been suppressed one after another. This made the previously suppressed Celestial Beast sect feel very satisfied. Where did Hua Shui go? Chu Hen suddenly asked. It seemed that he hadn't seen Hua Shui for the past few days. Today, she didn't follow the group to the Green Willow Manor and the Heavenly Beast sect. Oh, she went to refine pills, Jishu replied softly. Refining pills? Chu Hen was startled, and his expression couldn't help but reveal a strange expression. What pills? I don't know. In any case, after the day you went into seclusion, she said that she was going to refine pills and told us not to disturb her if there's nothing important. That's really strange, Nongqi casually added. I've never seen her so diligent before. I don't know what triggered her. Chu Hen's handsome eyebrows raised slightly, and a strange smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Where is she? I'll go take a look. The back of the mountain, the back of Lang City. In a quiet valley, green grass grew, bees flew, and butterflies danced. In the distance, one could see the blue riverbank. The clear waves flowed, and one could see the autumn water in the vast sky. On a spacious ground, there was a cauldron that was more than 2 meters tall. The cauldron was engraved with complicated secret runes, and there was also a pattern of a snake shadow. This cauldron was named Akiji, and it was a sacred cauldron. Ah, I'm so tired. Hua Shui sat on the lid of the Akiji cauldron and stretched. Then, she held her head with her hand and looked resentful, as if someone owed her money. What's wrong? What have you been doing here for the past few days? Suddenly, a hearty voice was heard. Hua Shui was startled. She didn't know when Chu Hen had sat next to her. Caught off guard, her delicate body leaped forward, and she fell from the Akiji cauldron. Ah! Just as Hua Shui was about to land on the ground, Chu Hen hurriedly grabbed her wrist and pulled her back. Sit tight. Are you trying to scare me to death? Hua Shui was so angry that she opened her mouth and scolded. She glared at Chu Hen fiercely, and she almost punched and kicked him if she could beat him. Chu Hen smiled. I'm sorry, I scared you. Humph. Hua Shui pouted, and the anger in her heart disappeared by half. What are you doing here? What about you? What kind of elixir are you making here? Chu Hen asked. Why do you care? I'm the sect leader. So what if you're the sect leader? You can kick me out of Mount Kunliu. To have a sect leader like you, it's really 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Hua Shui was not threatened by Chu Hen this time. Chu Hen touched his nose in embarrassment. Am I that bad? Hua Shui thought for a moment and said, You're talented, good-looking, and smart. I don't think you're that bad. Chu Hen could not help but find it funny. This girl was really too cute. Okay, I'm here for something. What is it? What do you think? What are you best at? A hint of naughtiness flashed in Chu Hen's eyes. Hua Shui pouted and glared at him. Humph, I knew you were going to squeeze me again. Here you go. Chapter 585. Humph, I knew you were going to squeeze me dry again. Here you go, Hua Shui muttered in dissatisfaction, then threw a beautiful glass bottle to Chu Hen. Chu Hen was stunned at first. Then he opened the bottle, and a rich fragrance came to his face. There were 20 to 30 purplish-red medicinal pills in the bottle. This is Violent Blood Earth Restoration Pill. Hua Shui said. Oh. Chu Hen's eyes brightened. He had heard of the name Violent Blood Earth Restoration Pill. After consuming this medicinal pill, it could cleanse one's meridians, nourish one's qi, and allow Wu Xiao to break through the bottleneck in a short period of time, increasing his cultivation strength. However, this Violent Blood Earth Restoration Pill had a limitation. It did not have much effect on Wu Xiao, who was in the middle and later stages of the void-piercing state. In other words, this medicinal pill did not have much effect on Chu Hen. However, for those who were in the early stages of the void-piercing state and below, it was definitely a great supplement. You've been refining this medicinal pill for the past few days? Chu Hen raised his eyebrows. What else? Hua Shui clenched her teeth and said, A few days ago, I heard Sister Shilan and Miss Mengchang chatting, saying that you might go against the Sacred Star Empire. I knew you would definitely ask me to refine medicinal pills for you to increase the strength of the family of generals. Since I can't run away, I might as well finish refining the Violent Blood Earth Restoration Pill for you. The more Hua Shui spoke, the more she regretted. It seemed like he had been busy for so long. What was it for? She did not owe Chu Hen anything. Why did he want anything? She wanted to help. This time, she was so proactive. However, Hua Shui also knew that no matter how she rejected, Chu Hen would find a way to make her agree to help in the end. Perhaps I owed him in my previous life. Hua Shui sighed. Looking at the other party's conflicted look, Chu Hen was stunned, then patted her head like an elder brother. You've become smarter this time. I have always been smart. Hua Shui retorted. No matter what, thank you for this time. If you want anything in the future, just tell me. As long as I, Chu Hen, can take it out, I will definitely give it to you. Really? Hua Shui's eyes brightened. Of course. Then follow us back to Mount Kunli. Sure. After I've settled everything here, I'll go back with you. Chu Hen had already made up his mind. Regardless of Gong Yangyu's intentions in passing the sect master's keepsake to him, he still needed to give the 4 ladies an explanation. This way, they wouldn't have let down their hard work during this period of time. In that case, you'll have to go all out against the Saint Star Empire this time around. Don't let anything happen to you. Otherwise, we won't know what to do. Hua Shui said worriedly. Chu Hen heaved a sigh of relief. He got up and stood on the green child cauldron. He looked at the vast mountains and rivers in front of him, and a strong desire to fight flashed in his eyes. In the next 10 days, Lang City entered a tense state of deployment. Relaxation was always short-lived. Only after experiencing the wind and rain would one cherish the sunny days more. Chu Hen distributed the violent blood earth restoration pill to the many higher-ups of the clan of generals. Then, in just a few days, the overall strength of the clan of generals had a significant improvement. Long Qingyang even broke through the 3rd level of the void-piercing realm and entered the 4th level. The wind was rising and the clouds were scudding. Everything indicated that a storm was coming. In the blink of an eye, 15 days passed quietly. Above Lang City, Chu Hen stood on the city wall, his posture straight like a cold spear. His resolute face looked like it was carved with a knife, revealing a cold aura. Long Qingyang, Luo Mingshang, Shilan, Qi Tung, Fu Qin, Yin Hanlu, and other experts stood on either side of him. Shi Yan's evil dragon beast hovered in the sky, shuttling between the clouds, shocking the firmament. Below the city wall, more than 1,000 members of the clan of generals, led by Qi Wanli, stood in a neat formation. Each of them wore battle armor and held sharp weapons in their hands, unafraid of death. To the left of the clan of generals was the Su family's team, led by Su Hao and Su Yurong. This time, the Su family had sent all their experts. In order to assist Chu Hen, they had practically turned out in full force. Rumble, accompanied by a series of rumbling noises, a surging aura rushed over like a flood. It's the people of Green Willow Manor and Sword Crafting City, Long Qingyang said in a low voice. Chu Hen nodded, a faint ripple appearing in his eyes. As the top 2 forces in the Hidden Wind region, the arrival of Green Willow Manor and Sword Crafting City could be said to be a huge commotion. Many experts arrived in the sky, some using true yuan to form wings. Haibuang and Pei Xiao, who were in the lead, each rode a majestic beast king mount. With the addition of these 2 forces, Lang City's momentum had increased by a large margin. Young Master Chu, Haibuang, have come as promised. Pei Xiao have come as well. The 2 of them cupped their fists and bowed through the air. Chu Hen returned a simple bow. Thank you, both of you. Logically speaking, Haibu Wang and Pei Xiao had only come because they had been forced by Chu Hen. The 2 of them should have been unwilling and unwilling. But in reality, the 2 of them did not show any signs of disgust on their faces. Especially since they had brought so many experts, it could be said that they had not held back much. This gave the impression that they were willing to help Chu Hen. As for the reason behind it, everyone had a tacit understanding. Only the Sky Beast sect is left. I don't know if they will come. I think the chances are quite small. Everyone in the Hidden Wind region knows what kind of person Dong Wahong is. To him, face is more important than anything else. Indeed, many of the people present did not have much hope for the Sky Beast sect. Third brother? Long Qingyang asked in a probing manner. Chu Hen nodded slightly. It's fine. Even without the Sky Beast sect, the number of void-piercing experts on our side is enough to compete with the royal family of the Sacred Star Dynasty. Long Qingyang nodded and did not say anything else. After all, the dozen or so people that Chu Hen had brought were all void-piercing experts and spiritual tattooists. Coupled with the Su family, Green Willow Manor, and Sword Crafting City, the main force in the middle would not be much weaker than the Sacred Star Dynasty. Screech. Roar. At this moment, a loud and high-pitched cry of a demonic beast suddenly came from the sky ahead. The hearts of everyone in Lang City brightened. The sky and earth in front of them were dark, as if a black wave was sweeping over. The sky was dark, and the earth was dark. On the road, an army of flaming tigers and wolves was imposing. Wherever they went, it was as if thousands of soldiers were fighting and overturning rivers and seas. In the sky, the giant eagle team was moving as fast as lightning. The majestic eagles shuttled through the wind and clouds like flowing light shuttles. However, The most eye-catching was the demonic beast team behind the flaming tigers and wolves. It was a demonic beast with a strange appearance and a huge body. This demonic beast looked like a giant crocodile, with sharp claws and a sinister head. However, it also carried a round hard shell on its back. The hard shell was covered with sharp, diamond-shaped thorns. The armored earth dragon team. Everyone was surprised. This guy, Hai Bawang murmured softly. He exchanged a glance with Pei Xiao and nodded at each other. Dong Wahong's actions were truly surprising. He had even taken out the armored earth dragon team's capital. Soon, the giant eagle team, the flaming tigers and wolves, and the armored earth dragon team had arrived in front of Lang City. They were vast and mighty, toppling mountains and overturning seas. Even the earth was shaking violently and restlessly. Roar! Dong Wahong rode on the dark lightning leopard as he flew over, and dense resolution could clearly be seen on his face. Young Master Chu. Dong Wahong cupped his fists. Sect leader Dongwa, you've been waiting for a long time. Chu Hen smiled lightly. From the beginning, Chu Hen was rather composed. As far as he was concerned, Dong Wahong would definitely come. Because Dong Wahong was an ambitious person, Dong Wahong was unwilling to stay in the Hidden Wind region and had always been waiting for an opportunity. Dong Wahong failed when he started training the Shi Yin evil dragon beast. When he witnessed the Shi Yin evil dragon beast that he was unable to tame submit to Chu Hen after 7 years, Dong Wahong thought for a long time. In the end, he was willing to choose to believe Chu Hen this once. Young Master Chu, my heavenly beast sect has arrived. Dong Wahong shouted with a loud voice. Chu Hen's eyes squinted as he raised a single hand, and his powerful voice was like a thunderclap piercing the ear. Sacred Star Dynasty, we've arrived as well. Chapter 586. The sky changed, and the wind blew in the south. The stars moved, and tens of thousands of soldiers trampled the wilderness. The army broke, and the greedy wolf tribulation. All the way to the east, the demons were furious, and the imperial power was shaken. Boom, boom, boom. A strong team consisting of thousands of experts and 3 demon beast legions came out of the Hidden Wind domain. They went all the way to the southeast, sweeping in the direction of the Sacred Star Empire. The tremendous turmoil was like a 1,000-mile thunder tribulation. Beasts were running wildly. Mountains and trees fell, and rivers were flattened. Countless beasts in the forest were trampled into meat paste by the claws of the flaming tiger wolves and the earth armor dragons. Thousands of birds and beasts were frightened and flew away. It went on for several days without a break. Roar! The leader in the sky was an aggressive and majestic stone rock evil dragon. Its huge wings spread out, shaking the mountains and rivers. On the back of Shi Yan's evil dragon beast, many warriors remained silent. Their faces were solemn, overlooking the beautiful mountains and rivers in front of them. Chu Hen stood on the head of the stony evil dragon with his hands clasped behind his back, letting his clothes flutter in the rapid airflow. Facing the homeland that he grew up in, Chu Hen had a lot of complicated feelings that were hard to describe. But soon, the complicated feelings in his heart were replaced by hatred and resentment. That year, he was framed for killing Wei Qingfan in the imperial city, and the whole city had chased after him. Today, he finally came back to this place that contained countless memories of his childhood. Chu Hen came back with the flame of revenge. Huang Fuyang, the divine empress, the imperial ancestor, and the people who had framed and chased after him. Chu Hen's gaze gradually became sharp. This time, he was going to collect all of those old debts with interest. This grudge that was difficult to resolve had finally come to an end. The Sacred Star Dynasty. The Imperial City. The air is a little cold. The weather is going to change. In a deserted Marshall House Academy, a middle-aged man with a full beard raised his head to look at the sky and muttered to himself with a tinge of regret. In front of him stood more than 10 young men and women. They were the last students of this Marshall Palace. You will be leaving the academy tomorrow. Congratulations. The middle-aged man turned around and looked at the dozen people in front of him. This was clearly a happy sentence, but there was no trace of a smile on their faces. For From the moment he entered the academy to the moment he defended this land. There were only two instructors left in Tensei Prefecture, Song Chunglai and Shadowless. Hunter Master Chung, do you have anything to say to us? A tall young man asked. Of course. Song Chunglai smiled warmly, then nodded and said, Li Hui, Zhou Lu. At first, both of you were tutor Shilan students. Later on, you were transferred to me. You made great progress in the past 2 years. You're even more outstanding than when He Qing Yuan and the others left last year. I'm very happy to be able to personally send you off. Li Hui, Zhou Lu. They were the two people who entered Tensei Prefecture in the same batch as Chu Hen and became Mentor Shilan's direct disciples in the same year. They were the last batch of students from Tensei Prefecture, but they defended until the end. Tensei Prefecture was once glorious, but it declined. Later on, because of the arrival of a certain person, Tensei Prefecture rose again for a period of time, surpassing its former glory. But that time, it was like a flash in the pan. After sending off the last batch of students this year, it meant that Tensei Prefecture would no longer have any students. This academy would become history. Song Chunglia's eyes reddened at the thought of this. He was an 8-foot-tall man, someone who usually shed blood but never tears, but at this moment, he could not suppress the deep sorrow in his heart. Tutor, Chunglai can only hold on until now. Song Chunglai mumbled to himself. His tutor was Principal Jiang. 2 years ago, Principal Jiang was sent to prison, never to see the light of day again. Almost all the instructors left, but Song Chunglai chose to stay. He wanted to personally send off the last batch of students on Principal Jiang's behalf. F***CK, are you serious? Chunglai, you're crying? A lazy voice was heard. Tutor Shadowless, who was dressed in black, walked over with a smile. Tutor Shadowless. Li Hui, Zhou Lu, and the others bowed in unison. Shadowless waved his hand. You brats are the only ones left. From tomorrow onward, I'll be free and unfettered. Everyone smiled helplessly, although Shadowless said that. Everyone knew that he was actually reluctant to leave. He was reluctant to leave them, and he was even more reluctant to leave Tensei Prefecture. Otherwise, Shadowless would have left a long time ago, and he would not have waited until today. If you want to die, go far away from here. Don't be so cheeky here. I'm sick of you, Song Chunglai cursed. You bastard. How dare you say something like that? Let's go, students. To celebrate your successful departure, I've booked a table of top-notch dishes at Westlake Restaurant. You could drink however you want today. Tutor, it's my treat. Shadowless shouted loudly. Haha, it's rare for Tutor Shadowless to treat us. We won't stand on ceremony. That's right. Tutor Shadowless used a freeload for me every day. We must let him off this time. Then, everyone followed him out of the courtyard. The cold and cheerless gate looked exceptionally desolate. However, everyone buried the sadness in their hearts and didn't want to touch it. Old song. The Marshall House will close tomorrow. Do you have any plans? Shadowless and Song Chunglai walked at the back. Looking at the deteriorating gate, they couldn't help but feel sad. They had witnessed the glory, decline, and eventual demise of Tensei Prefecture. This emotional bond was especially deep and distant. I haven't decided yet, but the families of Xiao Yin, Ji Xian, and the others all invited me to be their coach, but I rejected them. Shadowless smiled. Bai Yue also sent someone to invite me to help her family, but I didn't agree. Why? The Bai family is quite powerful in the Sacred Star Dynasty. It won't be a waste of your talent if you go there. No, Tensei Prefecture is gone. I don't want to stay in the Imperial City anymore. I don't want to be sad. You're right. The two were silent. They had been friends for decades, so they knew what the other was thinking. There was no need to ask. Everyone walked on the bustling street. There was an endless stream of horses and carriages, and the people coming and going all looked at them with strange expressions. They were used to this kind of look. Li Hui, where do you plan to go after you leave? Zhou Lu, who was walking in front, asked casually. I'll take over my father's position and help manage the family business, right? Li Hui answered. Then he asked, what about you? I don't know. I want to go to a sect to cultivate, but my father will definitely find a suitable family for me to marry. Huh, what are you laughing at? I'll beat you to death if you laugh again. I don't think you'll get married so early. How do you know? Because I know you've always had a crush on senior brother Chu Han. You? Zhou Lu was startled like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Li Hui smiled. I've known it for a long time, but I didn't say it out loud. I'm leaving tomorrow, and I'm not afraid that you'll cause me trouble in the future. In fact, the reason why you haven't left Tensei Prefecture is that you want to wait for senior brother Chu Han to come back one day, right? Zhou Lu pursed her lips, and her eyes were filled with confusion. He won't come back. The crowd stopped talking. It seemed that they were sad about their departure tomorrow, but also seemed that they suddenly missed someone. The lively atmosphere of the street seemed to be incompatible with them. Hey, something big happened in the West Sea General's mansion again. Just here, a low voice came from the crowd on the street. I also heard that the General Yu Shihai was also locked up. Why? It said that someone reported to the imperial family that the General of West Sea deliberately let the traitor Chu Han go when he was chasing after him 2 years ago. When the imperial ancestor learned about this, he was furious and said that he would punish the general severely. No way? Is this for real? Why did he mention this after so long? It's true. It seems that he was tricked by a villain. It was rumored that it was because of Yu Qinyu that the great general of the West Sea let Chu Han go. Because Princess Huang Fuqing pleaded for the great general of the West Sea, she was also removed from the position of regent. Too many things have happened in the capital in the past 2 years. Yes, first it was Principal Jiang, and now it's the general of West Sea and Princess Huang Fuqing. Anyone who has anything to do with Chu Han will suffer. I really feel sorry for them. The speaker didn't mean anything, but the listener was listening. Li Hui, Zhou Lu, and the others just walked their way in silence. How had they been in the past 2 years? How had they been in Tensei Prefecture? They knew it best. Boom! Suddenly, a wave of dark and surging dark clouds surged over from the horizon in front of them. The thunder rumbled and the wind howled. The dark cloud pressed down on the city, and the storm was coming. It was like a shocking wave coming toward the capital. What's going on? Is there a storm coming? That's not right. The weather there is still fine. Very soon, the vast and mighty dark cloud had reached the sky above the imperial city. The guards on the tall city wall were all shocked. They saw that it was not a dark cloud, but a powerful army made up of demonic beasts and humans. Roar, screech. Deafening roars set off furious sound waves. The vast army of demonic beasts intimidated all directions. They covered the sky and the sun, emitting a powerful and fierce aura. The guards on the city wall had never seen such a formation before. All of them were so scared that their faces turned pale. Quickly close the city gate. Close the city gate. However, in the next moment, the mighty army of demonic beasts poured down like a tsunami and launched a fierce attack. Screech. More than a dozen armored dragons with barbed armor on their backs rammed into the tall city wall like cannonballs. Rocks flew everywhere, and dust flew everywhere. The originally impregnable and sturdy city towers were now like tofu dregs, with huge craters appearing on them. The city walls shook violently, and cracks began to appear on them. Rumble. With a loud sound, the city wall that was close to 100 meters tall suddenly collapsed. Blood-curdling screams filled the air as the guards either fell to their deaths or were buried alive. Roar! The armored dragons opened the way in front, and then the army of flaming tigers and wolves rushed into the city. The giant eagles roared, spreading their wings and flying fast. Like a ray of light, they attacked the sky above the capital. Boom! Screech! The outer defense of the capital was useless. The unstoppable army of demonic beasts directly rushed into the city. Everywhere they went, buildings collapsed and smoke rose. In an instant, the streets of the capital fell into fear and chaos. Enemy attack. Quickly inform the Imperial Army. Many Imperial guards were patrolling nearby, heard the news, and rushed over. However, They were instantly torn apart by the ferocious and terrifying army of demonic beasts. In an instant, the demonic beasts broke through the capital. At the same time, experts with powerful auras stepped on the air and followed the army of demonic beasts, attacking the city together. Panic, screams, and the people of the capital fled in all directions. City Hunter Mentor, Li Hui, Zhou Lu, and the others who had yet to reach the restaurant were also shocked by this sudden change. Song Chunglai and shadowless faces were filled with solemnity. What was going on? Who were the people who had come? How dare they invade the capital? The intense commotion quickly attracted the experts of various forces in the capital. Experts from all directions soared into the air and intercepted them head-on. Who dares to offend my Sacred Star dynasty? Who are you? Tell me your name. Roar. What answered them was a deafening roar that shook the heavens. This roar carried the might to suppress the mountains and rivers, and it shook the heavens. The numerous experts in the imperial city were caught off guard and were all blasted flying. There were even a few whose internal organs were torn apart, and they spat out blood as they fell to the ground. In the next moment, behind the giant eagle, a huge beast with monstrous aura and a menacing aura appeared. Oh my God, isn't that the legendary Shi Yin evil dragon? Who are they? Looking at the roaring Shi Yin evil dragon, the people of the capital became even more confused. Many experts flew in the air and stood on both sides of the giant beast. On the head of the giant beast stood a handsome and extraordinary young man. His cold aura gave off a strong and sharp aura. That is... When they saw the figure on the back of the evil dragon beast, the complexions of Li Hui, Zhou Lu, and the others drastically changed. Everyone from the Heavenly Star Marshall House stared with their eyes wide open. It was as if their minds were struck by lightning. Mr. Chung, it's Chu Hen, it's Chu Hen, Zhou Lu exclaimed. Song Chunglai and Shadowless also widened their eyes, their faces filled with disbelief. Chu Hen, the young man who changed the fate of Tensei Prefecture twice? The figure that no one in the Sacred Star dynasty could touch. He's back? The sky was dark, and the earth was in chaos. This scene was like a dream. Roar! Shi Yin evil dragon's aura swept through the experts of the capital. Chu Hen's eyes narrowed, and a powerful aura spread out. Chu Hen is here. Anyone who stands in my way will die. Chapter 587. Chu Hen is here. Those who stand in my way shall die. The majestic aura spread across the sky of the capital like a tsunami. The people who stood in his way were shocked to the point that they saw stars and their ears were ringing. Chu Hen, hearing these two words, the hearts of everyone in the city trembled violently. There was probably no one in the Sacred Star dynasty who did not know this name. Earth List Champion, Heaven List Champion. The standard of the geniuses in the Sacred Star dynasty was refreshed. The scene from 2 years ago involuntarily surfaced in everyone's mind. That enraged, blood-soaked youth had made a sorrowful oath the moment he left the imperial capital. I, Chu Hen, swear that if I don't destroy the Sacred Star dynasty, I am not a human. That scene was deeply engraved in the hearts of the people in the capital like an indelible mark. Now he was back. He really came back. With the flame of revenge, he killed his way into the capital in such a strong state. The giant eagles that filled the sky were as fast as lightning. The flaming tigers and wolves were unstoppable. Wherever the armored earth dragon went, the ground collapsed. Tens of thousands of people fled. The whole city was in chaos. It was impossible to not disturb the people in such a large-scale attack. However, Chu Hen did not harm the ordinary citizens. The demonic beast army was only clearing the way in front and clearing the obstacles. The cries of the eagles and the roars of the tigers were endless. The guards of the capital couldn't even stop the attack of the demonic beast army. The flaming tigers and the armored earth dragon were like a flood that broke through the dam. They went straight down the road. It's really him. It's really Chu Hen. Li Hui, did you see that? Chu Hen is back. Zhou Lu was so excited that she didn't know what to do. Li Hui stood dumbfounded on the spot. Ever since they entered the Tensei Prefecture together, Li Hui had always regarded Chu Hen as his idol. After 2 years, the other party escaped from the Sacred Star dynasty and returned to the capital. Li Hui's heart was filled with complicated feelings. Isn't that Minter Shilon? A student from Tensei Prefecture exclaimed. Song Qinglai and Shadowless were shocked. They looked over, and sure enough, they saw a beautiful purple-haired woman standing behind Chu Hen. Then, the crowd saw Hong Lian, Long Qingyang, Luo Mengshang, Qi Tong of the Rock Dynasty, and Lu Qi of the Misty Wind Dynasty. Even they are here. In an instant, a part of the sky was occupied by Chu Hen and the others. Chu Hen ignored the defense of the guards in front of him. He raised his cold eyes and shouted, "Let's go! Rumble!" The group of beasts ran wildly, trampling on the Jade Building. The mighty aura went straight to the heart of the imperial capital, heading straight for the bustling central area. That direction is Wei family? Song Qinglai frowned and mumbled to himself. Wei family mansion. What's the commotion outside? Wei Gang, the family head of the Wei family, was holding a scroll in his room. Before he could calm down and read it, a commotion came from outside. Bang! The door was slammed open, and a panicked figure fell to the ground. Family head, bad news. An army of demonic beasts came out of nowhere and is charging toward our mansion. What? Wei Gang got up, frowned, and shouted, "How can there be an army of demonic beasts in the imperial capital? I don't know." Rumble. Before he could finish his words, the world outside was already shaking. Demonic beasts roared together, the sound of houses collapsing, and the screams of servants kept coming. Without another word, Wei Gang rushed out the door and roared angrily. "Which blind fool dares to offend my house, Wei?" But in the next second, Wei Gang was shocked. The sky outside was dark, and the wind was howling. The sky above Wei family seemed to be covered by dark clouds. Giant eagles spread their wings and circled in the sky. Figures with powerful auras stood proudly in the sky, staring down coldly, as if looking at a flock of lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Who are you? Even Wei Gang was frightened by this situation. He calmed himself and continued, "Our Wei family is a relative of the imperial family. Who are you? How dare you oppose the imperial family? How have you been, family head Wei?" An indifferent voice came from above. Then, a majestic and domineering behemoth appeared between heaven and earth. On the head of the ferocious beast stood a slender young figure. "It's you." Wei Gang's pupils shrank violently. Who was this person? He believed that Wei Gang would never forget him in his entire life, because the other party was the person he hated the most and wanted to personally kill the most. If it was under normal circumstances, Wei Gang would definitely not hesitate to rush up and strike Chu Hen with a palm. But now, the scene in front of him filled Wei Gang with fear. Any random person's aura was enough to make him feel fearful. Chu Hen, in particular, made him feel an indescribable palpitation. Chu Hen coldly stared at the deathly pale Wei Gang below. Shortly after, he raised his left hand and said with an indifferent tone, "Other than the unrelated servants and young children and women who do not even have the strength to truss a chicken, slaughter everyone else." His voice was cold and decisive. Kill everyone, bathe the entire family in blood. This was the powerful flames of vengeance that Chu Hen had brought. Understood. The experts of the House of Generals, Su family, Swordforge City, and Green Willow Manor answered in unison. Fierce figures flew down from the sky, sweeping up thick killing intent as they pounced towards the House Wei crowd. The fierce attacks were like a tsunami, unstoppable. Sword shadows, blade light, spear light, palm energy, all sorts of dazzling true essence attacks stirred up a furious wave. One by one, the Wei family experts lost their lives. The speed at which they reaped their lives was extremely fast. Blood sprayed everywhere, and blood-curdling screams rang out. Ferocious, flaming tigers and wolves flipped into the houses and tore the throats of their enemies. One by one, the earth armor dragons crashed through walls and doors, trampling people into meat paste. Stop right now. Wei Gang was incomparably furious. His eyes were bloodshot as he charged at Chu Hen like a ferocious beast. "Little bastard, I'll kill you." However, just as Wei Gang leaped into the air, the Stoneclaw evil dragon beneath Chu Hen immediately opened its huge mouth and let out a deafening roar. Roar! The impact of the invisible sound wave caused the space around it to distort. It was like a circle of ripples on the surface of the water as it poured down. Wei Gang seemed to be attacked by a terrifying sound wave. His body shook violently, his organs felt like they were about to rupture, and blood flowed out of his ears. Then, with a bang, he fell heavily to the ground. Countless blood vessels in his body ruptured, and in the blink of an eye, he was covered in blood. Wei Gang clenched his teeth and glared at Chu Hen like an evil spirit. I won't let you off even if I become a ghost." "You." Chu Hen was expressionless as he said indifferently, "In fact, the one you shouldn't have let off is someone else." What did you say?" "Do you think it was necessary for Wei Qingfan to die in my hands at that time?" His indifferent tone sounded as if he was talking about something that couldn't be more ordinary. When Wei Qingfan died, Wei Gang led all the experts of the clan to hunt down Chu Hen, causing a storm in the city. No matter how Chu Hen tried to explain that he was not the murderer, no one was willing to listen to him. But now, at this time, it seemed that it didn't matter much whether Chu Hen admitted that he was the murderer or not, because the Wei clan was bound to perish. "You?" Wei Gang was stunned. Then, he suddenly came to his senses, and his eyes widened in anger. "Yes, he killed my son." However, it was too late for Wei Gang to come to his senses. Roar! In the next moment, two flaming tiger wolves pounced on him. Their sharp, saw-like teeth easily tore through his flesh and crushed his internal organs and bones. Blood flowed continuously from Wei Gang's mouth. His head tilted to the side, and the life in his eyes rapidly faded. In the moment before his death, the corners of Wei Gang's lips curled into a sinister smile. "Hee. You used my son's death to deal with him. Very soon, all of you will also be finished." Seeing Wei Gang's body torn apart by the flaming tiger wolves, Chu Hen's eyes flashed with a faint emotion. Truth be told, Wei Qingfan had always been the person he hated the most. Back in Flaming Rain City, because of Yi Yu, Wei Qingfan had made him suffer a blow that was more painful than death. Later on, when he came to the capital, Wei Qingfan had caused him to be rejected by almost all the high-ranked martial schools because of Wei Qingfan. After that, he had tried to kill him more than once. From Wei Qingfan to Wei Gang, today, all the grudges between Chu Hen and the Wei clan had been settled. In less than the time it took to drink half a cup of tea, the entire Wei clan's mansion had already turned into a river of blood. The gloomy sky seemed to be covered in thunderclouds, and an endless murderous aura spread in all directions. Apart from the irrelevant servants and the powerless women and children, everyone else had been slaughtered. This was the most straightforward massacre in the history of the capital. When the last mournful scream rang out, the thick smell of blood wafted in the wind. Chu Hen looked at the chaotic capital and said coldly, "To the Southern Prince's mansion." Roar! Screech! They came ferociously and left in a straightforward manner. The majestic, demonic beast army directly flattened the Wei clan's mansion before heading to the Southern Prince's mansion. Afterwards, many people from all over the capital who had heard the news arrived at the Wei clan's mansion. When they saw the tragic scene in front of them, all of them were so frightened that their faces turned ashen, and they were as frightened as cicadas in winter. The inside of the broken walls was completely dyed in a blood-red color. Heavens! Isn't this Chu Hen too ruthless? Is the Southern Prince's mansion also going to suffer? Chu Hen's hatred for Huang Fuyang is no less than that of Wei Qingfan. Hurry up and inform the imperial ancestor. We can't do anything about this. Ruthless. To Mother * King Ruthless. This was what everyone thought after witnessing the change in the Wei clan's mansion. In just 2 years, who would have thought that the young man who had been chased everywhere and almost lost his life would come back to take revenge in such a way? Black clouds shrouded the capital, and a murderous aura rose. A reign of terror and bloodshed raged in the air. In the new month, I'm looking for a battle on the flower list. For every 15 flowers added this month, there will be one chapter added. This was not an April Fool's joke, but a declaration of war for the new month. Chapter 588. In just a short period of time, the entire Wei clan's mansion was destroyed, the wind broke the waves, and the eagles soared in the sky. The mighty army led by Chu Hen rushed all the way to the prince of Nanping's mansion. At this moment, the prince of Nanping's mansion had just received the news that the imperial city was invaded. But who was it? Why did they invade the imperial city? The news had yet to be delivered. Report. At this moment, a palace guard hurriedly rushed through the gate. The South Prince, Huangfu Pingyun, and many high-level people came out of the inner hall. One of the consecrated elders of the mansion shouted, "What are you panicking for? Did you see a ghost?" However, the other shout did not calm the guard down. Instead, he became more anxious. Your Highness, the Wei clan, the Wei clan, the Wei clan?" Everyone frowned. Huangfu Pingyun asked in a deep voice, "What happened to the Wei clan?" The Wei clan was massacred. Patriarch Wei Gang died on the spot. What? Hearing this, everyone in the mansion seemed to be struck by lightning. Their faces changed dramatically. Who did it? Huangfu Pingyun asked sternly. "It's me." An ear-piercing, thunderous noise echoed in the sky above the South Prince's mansion. In an instant, a majestic, mountainous pressure poured down, suppressing everyone in the South Prince's mansion to the point where they could not even stand properly. Along with a huge shadow that covered the sky, the murderous aura of the Yin evil dragon was monstrous. One by one, the giant eagles spread out and surrounded the prince's mansion. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Many figures with powerful auras were like illusions. Their murderous intent covered the sky and the earth. "It's you?" Seeing the slender young figure on the back of the Yin evil dragon, Huangfu Pingyun's eyes widened. His face changed dramatically as he stared at the other side in disbelief. It's you." Chu Hen looked at the other side condescendingly, his eyes as cold as frost. "Your Highness, you still remember me. I'm really honored." His frivolous tone carried a hint of disdain. Actually, how could Huangfu Pingyun's hatred towards Chu Hen be any lesser than Wei Gang's? Back then, in the heaven-ranking battle of the Six Empires, Huangfu Liang had suppressed the Tian Luo dynasty's Yi Wei. He had suppressed everyone. He had thought that he would be the champion, but who would have thought that Chu Hen would snatch it away? Moreover, in front of thousands of people, Chu Hen had forcefully torn off one of Huangfu Liang's arms, turning him into a cripple. At that time, the enraged Huangfu Pingyun disregarded her status and the rules of the arena and publicly slapped Chu Hen. It was precisely because of this that the enmity between the southern prince's estate and Chu Hen grew deeper and deeper, and it had reached an irreconcilable state. Afterwards, Huang Fuliang secretly assassinated Wei Qingfan and, with the help of the prince's mansion and the divine empress, framed Chu Hen. It could be said that the reason why Chu Hen was being hunted all over the city was because of the South Prince's residence. Long Zhan's death was inextricably linked to the South Prince's residence. Just like the Wei clan, slaughter them all. Without the slightest hesitation or a single superfluous word, Chu Hen gave the order. Yes, kill. Battle cries soared into the sky as the experts of the region of Hidden Wind drew their weapons and charged at the prince's estate. Protect His Highness. Kill them. The reinforcements from the Imperial City will arrive soon. This is the Imperial City. There's no need to fear them. Quite a few experts had gathered in the prince's estate. Compared to the Wei clan, who had been caught off guard, Huangfu Pingyun was more or less on guard. But at this moment, the walls of the tall buildings surrounding the prince's estate collapsed. Rubble flew everywhere, and dust flew everywhere. Roar! Ferocious flaming tigers, wolves, and earth armor dragons rushed in like an unstoppable flood. Bang, bang. The enormous armored earth dragons possessed astonishing strength. As they charged down like cannonballs, many of the prince's estate's experts were sent flying. Quite a few people had their chests pierced by the barbs on their hard shells, turning them into sieves. The ferocious attacks launched a frenzied encirclement. The arrogance of the prince's estate's people was instantly crushed to nothing. Although Green Willow Manor, Heavenly Beast Sect, and Swordforge City were not particularly powerful forces, they could easily slaughter these people from the South Prince's estate. Kill. Many experts moved gracefully, erupting with surging true essence. Too weak to even stand up to the wind. Green Willow Manor's manor, Lord Haibuong struck out with his palm. A powerful palm print fell down like a mountain, causing the internal organs of a prince's estate's consecrated elder to spill out. The Black Lightning Leopard beside, the Heavenly Beast Sect Master Donghua Hong moved like a ray of light and left like lightning. Like a shadow, it transformed into resplendent lightning bolts that whistled out, piercing through the chests of the prince's estate's experts one after another. Illusory saber light, dense killing intent. The scene that had previously appeared in the Wei clan estate once again played out in the South Prince's estate. Dust floated in the dusky sky, and even the sun quietly hid behind the dark clouds. Yin Han Lu, Fu Qin, Shi Lan, Qi Teng, Luo Mingshang, Qi Wanli, and the others all threw themselves into the fierce battle. The entire scene had completely fallen into a one-sided state of slaughter. All kinds of miserable wails intertwined with the roars of demonic beasts. The vibrations of tyrannical martial skills accompanied the sounds of sharp weapons cutting through flesh. Broken limbs flew wantonly in the air. Fresh blood danced in the air, and it was especially eye-catching. Strings of blood danced like fountains, and mournful wails sounded like the howls of wolves and the cries of ghosts in the night. The bloody slaughter continued to appear. Chu Hen stood on the stony evil dragon beast and looked down at the South Prince's estate that was gradually being dyed scarlet red. There was not the slightest bit of sympathy on his face. Not so long ago, he had been forced to become destitute because of these people. He had lost a place to live, and he had lost his father-like Uncle Jean. Now, he was only returning these debts double to them. If there was enmity, he would take revenge, and if there was resentment, he would take revenge. If you don't let me down, I will repay you. If you harm me, I will kill you. One by one, the people of the South Prince's estate died on the spot. At this moment, an afterimage that exuded endless hatred suddenly swept across the sky, rolling up a thick anger, and directly pounced on Chu Hen. Be asterisk Tisich, I will tear your body into 10,000 pieces. The voice was angry and familiar. A cold smile appeared at the corner of Chu Hen's mouth. The next moment, the stony evil dragon beast under him let out a low roar, raised its huge claws, and accurately slapped the afterimage. Bang! A circle of faint golden light rippled in the air, and the afterimage was sent flying like a cannonball, as if it had been hit by a mountain. Immediately, with a bang sound, it heavily hit a pavilion, and the entire building collapsed with a loud bang. In the ruins, a man covered in dust looked angry, and at the same time, he stared at Chu Hen in the sky with a look of disbelief. This person was dressed in a gorgeous brocade robe and had a noble temperament, but he only had one arm. The other sleeve was empty and flat, dragging on the ground. Looking at this person, Chu Hen smiled. His smile was especially mocking. Huang Fu Tian, long time no see. You are becoming more and more useless. Chu Hen did not hide the disdain in his words. This person was not a stranger. He was the #1 genius of the Sacred Star Dynasty, Huang Fu Liang. Time had passed, and in just 2 years, Huang Fu Liang could not even get close to Chu Hen. The man that he had disdained at the beginning had grown to such a terrifying level. Huang Fu Liang was trembling, and he gritted his teeth. I will kill you. I will kill you. Huang Fu Liang, will definitely kill you. He crawled up from the ground in a frenzy, like an enraged beast. Chu Hen slowly raised his left hand, and a strand of dazzling starlight gathered at his fingertip. Buzz, buzz. The dazzling starlight was dazzling. Chu Hen pointed at Huang Fu Liang with his index finger, and his lips moved as he spat out a few words. The grudge between us ends now. Reincarnate. Reincarnate. Huang Fu Yang's pupils shrank. Swoosh! The space shook violently, and a silver beam of light shot out like an aurora, creating waves of air ripples. It went all the way down and hit Huang Fu Yang. Boom! The berserk destructive power came crashing down. In a split second, the earth shook, the surface cracked, the bricks collapsed inch by inch, and the soil exploded all over the sky. The aftermath of the powerful blast swept in all directions. A thick layer of soil was blown off, and a large area of the stone ruins was crushed into powder. Huang Fuyang didn't even have time to scream before he was torn into pieces by the terrifying energy impact. No, South Prince Huang Fu Pingyun was furious, and his resentment reached its peak. Even so, the other party was angry, but he was not strong enough. Several earth armor dragons turned into spikes, and they flew toward Huang Fu Pingyun from different directions. The latter's protective True Yuan was instantly shattered, and the spikes on the earth armor dragons pierced into his flesh. Ah! Huang Fu Pingyun screamed and struggled, but the more he struggled, the deeper the spikes pierced into his flesh. Then a giant eagle swooped down at lightning speed, and it reached out its sharp claws to grab the other party's head. Crack! The sharp claws crushed the South Prince's skull, and he lost his vitality in an instant. He was badly mutilated, and he died on the spot. Heavens! Your Highness! With the South Prince's death, the people in the mansion, who were already on the verge of collapse, lost the will to resist. The sharp blade lights and sword shadows quickly reaped their lives, and the scarlet blood gathered into small streams on the ground. In the South Prince's mansion, corpses were everywhere, and blood flowed like a river. In the distance, the experts of the other forces in the Imperial City were completely frightened by the scene in front of them. Originally, many forces wanted to come and help, but when they saw the situation, they did not dare to move and could only watch from afar. Ruthless. It was too ruthless. They were afraid that when the news reached the Imperial family, the Wei family and the South Prince's mansion would be massacred before they could send help. Is that guy really Chu Hen? He is much more ruthless than before. Huang Fuyang killed him, and now he killed his whole family. I have lived for so long, but this is the first time I have seen such ruthless means. The Imperial City is going to change again. The Imperial City was going to change again. The Sacred Star Dynasty was going to face a shocking disaster. Chapter 589. In the beginning, I only harmed you, and now I killed your entire family. In less than 10 minutes, the Wei clan and the Southern Prince residents were bathed in blood. Except for some irrelevant and pitiful servants, the rest were massacred by Chu Hen and his men. The entire Imperial City was in an unprecedented chaos. The people were fleeing, and smoke was everywhere. Roar! Looking at the Southern Prince residence that was dyed red with blood, Chu Hen didn't even blink. Since he came to the Sacred Star Dynasty, he had long been prepared for this. Killing one was a crime, but killing 10,000 was a hero. Moreover, the people he killed were his enemies. This was not a crime, but revenge. Screech! It was also at this moment that the sky in the direction of the royal city also became dark. The world spun, the wind blew, and the clouds surged. Similarly, a peerless flying demonic beast whistled through the air towards them. On the backs of those eagle demonic beasts, there were many guards wearing golden armor and holding sharp spears. The Imperial City's guards are here, Qi Tong shouted. Hai Bawang, Pei Xiao, Dong Wahong, and the other's eyes turned cold. In this way, there was no way out. Next, it will be a real battle of life and death. Humph, it's too late now. Chu Hen raised his eyebrows and shouted, Kill them, and directly attack the Imperial City's lair. Roar! The Shi evil dragon let out a domineering roar. Then, with a swoosh sound, it turned into a shadow and rushed out. A terrifying aura poured out. The flying beasts of the Imperial City's guards in front all trembled with fear in their eyes. Let the bloody feast begin. Chu Hen's body moved and left Shi Yan's evil dragon's head. As soon as Chu Hen left, the Shi evil dragon was like a wild beast from hell that had broken free from its shackles. Like a meteorite, it plunged into the imperial city's flying beasts. Bang! Like a boulder that had been thrown into a calm lake, the powerful impact directly crushed over a dozen ferocious flying beasts. The golden armored guards that were riding on them were also injured or killed, and miserable cries could be heard. Roar! Without having to worry about Chu Hen, Shi Yan's evil dragon was completely unrestrained. With a wave of his sharp claws, the flying beasts were torn into two halves. He spat out raging flames, and fireballs fell from the sky like falling stars, dyeing the sky red. Hurry up and scatter. Don't fight this beast head-on. The Imperial guards panicked and hurriedly came up with a countermeasure. Speaking of which, they were really unlucky. As soon as they received news of the enemy attacking the city, they immediately came to support. But who would have thought that as soon as they arrived, the Wei clan and the Southern Prince's estate would already be massacred? Before he could figure out what was going on, this huge creature charged over as if it had a grudge against him. In fact, Shi Yan's evil dragon had been imprisoned by the Heavenly Beast sect for 7 years. He had been suppressing a bellyful of anger and resentment. He originally wanted to flatten the Heavenly Beast sect after coming out, but Dong Wuhong instead allied with Chu Hen. In this case, Shi Yan's evil dragon could only vent its 7 years of anger on these royal guards. Shi Yan's evil dragon, who had the strength of a level 7 beast king, quickly attacked the flying beasts of the Sacred Star dynasty. Immediately after, many experts from the Heavenly Beast sect, Green Willow Manor, and Swordcrafting City also rushed over. Sword shadows swept across the sky, and several heads were sent flying. With a flash of the blade light, 2 figures were cut in half. In the sky and on the ground, the battle was fierce. Various dazzling skills of different colors intertwined and collided, bursting out circles after circles of powerful shockwaves. Reiki energy transformed into bright runes that fluttered like spiritual butterflies, blooming beautifully while quietly harvesting the enemy's lives. Bang! Boom! One after another, the corpses of huge flying beasts fell from the sky, crashing into tall buildings. Blood rained down, and the momentum was magnificent. In just a few blinks of an eye, Chu Hen's people had already gained the absolute advantage. They carried out a massacre along the way, rushing toward the direction of the Imperial city in the center of the Imperial capital. The Imperial guards fought and retreated at the same time. In the end, they could only retreat. They were completely suppressed. The entire city was in chaos. From the Wei clan to the Southern Prince's mansion, and then to the Imperial city, blood flowed unceasingly, and deaths did not stop. The entire Imperial city had long since fallen into a great panic. Inside a dark and damp prison, the only light that could be seen was a beam of light that shone in from the high vents. The sturdy prison was filled with an extremely unpleasant moldy smell. Other than some weeds on the ground, there was nothing else that could be seen. Strange, why is it so noisy outside today? A coarse voice echoed in the spacious prison. The one who spoke was a middle-aged man with thick eyebrows and a square mouth. The man's brows emitted an extraordinary heroic aura, but he was dressed in prison clothes, and his hands and feet were locked with heavy iron chains. General of the West Sea, why worry so much? You and I are trapped in prison. Even if the sky outside is turned upside down, it has nothing to do with us. A deep voice came from another prison. In a dark corner, a skinny old man squatted down. His hair was messy, and his face was full of stubble. The prison clothes on his body were even more tattered. It was obvious that he had been here for a long time. Sigh. The middle-aged man with a heroic aura sighed and said, Principal Jiang is right. Now that both of us have become prisoners, no matter what happens, it has nothing to do with us. General, do you regret it? The old man asked casually. Regret what? Of course I regret letting Chu Hen go that day and suffering today's calamity. To be honest, it would be a lie to say that I don't regret it. But if I had to choose again, I would still do the same thing. Yu Shihai replied. Oh. Principal Jiang was slightly surprised and replied with a hint of mockery. eating the emperor's salary, being loyal to the emperor. General, you're this dynasty's heroic general, but you'd actually go against the emperor for a mere rebel? Principal Jiang, why do you have to make fun of me? Didn't you also end up in prison because of him? Haha, this old man just wants to hear your reason. Yu Shihai nodded slightly and said, there are things that a man can do and things that he can't. Knowing that the emperor is wrong, but still doing it, this is foolish loyalty. That Long Zhan is the descendant of a loyal and good man. So how could the adopted son he took and be a traitor? Actually, you and I both know that Chu Hen's crime is groundless. But Chu Hen still offended his superiors and chopped off the divine empress's shoulder. Isn't that a crime? Oomph, Yu Shihai sneered. The only people I'm loyal to are the previous emperor's heirs, and ever since that old woman came to power, His Majesty the Emperor has lived an extremely difficult life. To be honest, there were many times when I wanted to kill that old woman. Chu Hen chopping off one of her arms can be considered to have helped me and His Majesty the Emperor vent our anger. Ha ha! Principal Jiang held his stomach and laughed loudly. He couldn't help but give a thumbs up. I never would have thought that general would be such a righteous and loyal person. This old man admires you very much, very much. Ashamed, ashamed. Yu Shihai sighed again and said, I, Yu Shihai, have lived my life with a clear conscience, with a clear conscience, with a clear conscience. I never thought that I would have to spend the rest of my life in this prison that doesn't see the light of day. Principal Jiang shook his head and sighed. He raised his head and looked at the air vent that was 5 to 6 meters high. It was the only source of light in the entire death prison. In these 2 years, he had almost forgotten about the outside world. Boom! At this moment, the entire prison started shaking violently. It was as if it was enduring a huge impact from a heavy object. At the same time, the noise and commotion outside became more and more chaotic, accompanied by shouts of killing and painful screams. Yu Shihai and Principal Jiang couldn't help but look at each other. They could see the confusion in each other's eyes. One should know that this was the death prison, one of the most heavily guarded places in the Sacred Star Dynasty. Usually, this place was as quiet as an underground palace, and it was impossible for there to be such a ruckus. What was going on today? Was the sky really turned upside down outside? 9-souled dragon seal. Boom! In the next instant, a terrifying shockwave erupted from the outside. The ground shook and the walls collapsed. Dust flew everywhere, and ethereal energy flew everywhere. More than a dozen prison guards flew in together with the heavy metal door. A powerful wave of air rushed into the prison, washing away the disgusting moldy smell. Both Principal Jiang and Yu Shihai were shocked, and they stood up involuntarily. Who is it? Then, more than a dozen figures with cold auras rushed in. The leader was tall and handsome, and he exuded a steady aura. You are? Principal Jiang frowned as a look of shock appeared on his face. Junior Long Qingyang greets Principal Jiang. Long Qingyang? Principal Jiang and Yu Shihai were even more shocked. They naturally knew who Long Qingyang was, but they were surprised that he was here. Open the door and invite Principal Jiang and General Shihai out, Long Qingyang said to the person behind him. Yes. The person swiftly found the prison key from one of the prison guards, opened the metal door, and unlocked the handcuffs and shackles on the two. Once the heavy shackles were removed, the two felt an indescribable sense of relief. Then, Principal Jiang hurriedly asked, What are you doing here? The capital was simply too dangerous for Long Qingyang and the rest. If they had come all the way here just to save him, Principal Jiang would feel really bad. Leave now. This isn't a place you should be. Long Qingyang smiled, his voice loud and clear. Don't worry, Principal Jiang. The capital has been breached, and the main force is already at the palace gates. What? The capital had been breached? Principal Jiang was shocked, and Yu Shihai's eyes were wide open in disbelief. He had only been in prison for less than 2 days. How could something like this happen? Who did it? Yu Shihai asked. Long Qingyang's eyes narrowed as unconcealable pride appeared on his face. Seeing his expression, Principal Jiang clenched his fists. Could it be? Chapter 590. The capital, the general's mansion. Because of Yu Shihai's imprisonment, the entire mansion was gloomy and silent. From top to bottom, from inside to outside, it was exceptionally cold and cheerless. What should I do? What should I do? In an elegant and secluded room, Yu Qinyu's beautiful face looked pale and haggard. 2 lines of dried tears could still be seen on her delicate cheeks. Because her father, Yu Shihai, was imprisoned, Yu Qinyu was under great pressure both physically and mentally. She tried everything she could to find help. However, those civil and military officials who were brothers with Yu Shihai all turned a blind eye to her. The only one who helped her was the princess, Huang Fuqing. However, just because Huang Fuqing spoke a few words for Yu Shihai, he was removed from his position as the prince regent. Everything seemed weak and powerless. No, I can't let father suffer for me. Yu Qinyu's eyes flashed with a trace of determination. It was she who insisted on letting Chu Hen go. It was she who put a sword on her neck to threaten Yu Shihai. Yu Qinyu immediately made a decision. She would exchange her life for Yu Shihai's. Yu Qinyu hurried out of the gate of the general's mansion. When she stepped onto the street, she found that the entire capital was in a great panic. People were running and fleeing. Fires were burning in the distance. Demonic beasts were fighting each other in the sky. Blood rained down, and roars shook the sky. Endless murderous aura filled the sky and covered the earth. Majestic black light blotted out the sky and covered the sun, like a violent storm enveloping the central area of the imperial capital. "Uncle, what happened?" Yu Qinyu randomly grabbed an old man in his 50s and asked. The old man was still in a state of shock as he replied fearfully, "The sky has been turned upside down. The sky of the imperial city is about to be turned upside down. The Wei family has been killed. The Nan family has also been killed. We can't stay here any longer." "What?" Yu Qinyu's pretty face paled. "Who did it?" "Chu Hen. Chu Hen is back." "Chu Hen?" When she heard these 2 words, Yu Qinyu's heartstrings, which had not been stirred for a long time, seemed to be gently plucked by an invisible hand. Ripples involuntarily appeared in her gentle eyes. "He's back. He really came back?" Yu Qinyu raised her eyebrows and hurriedly ran towards the direction of the imperial city without saying a word. Waterside pavilions and terraces, the scenery was quiet and beautiful. In the depths of the palace, a door that was slightly closed was smashed open. Royal sister, Huang Fuqing, who was reading a scroll, was startled by the sudden noise. She frowned and angrily looked at Huang Fu Hao, who was sweating profusely. "In any case, you are the ruler of a country. Can't you behave yourself?" "Imperial sister, Chu Hen is back. Duh." The scroll in Huang Fuqing's hand fell to the ground. She couldn't help but tremble. She stared at the man in disbelief. What did you say?" "Chu Hen is back. The Wei clan and the Nan clan have been annihilated. Now, they're attacking the gate of the imperial palace." Huang Fu Hao was the ruler of the Sacred Star dynasty. But at this moment, he didn't feel nervous at all. Huang Fu Hao didn't seem to worry that the imperial palace would fall and he would become the ruler of a dead country. Of course, rather than saying that he wasn't worried, it was more accurate to say that he didn't know what to do. Therefore, he came to find Huang Fuqing immediately. When Huang Fuqing heard this, she couldn't help but be stunned. What she had been worrying about these days had finally become a reality. Before Huang Fu Hao could say anything, she had already stood up and hurriedly left the room. She directly stepped into the air and flew towards the southern gate of the imperial palace. Soon, Huang Fuqing arrived at the southern gate of the imperial palace. In front of her was an incomparably fierce, chaotic battle. Outside the gate tower, corpses were everywhere, and blood was raining down. The imperial city guards clad in golden armor were engaged in a ferocious confrontation with the foreign experts. Under the dusky sky, there was an endless killing momentum. The giant eagle dragged out streams of powerful air currents in the sky, and its sharp claws tore apart the bodies of the imperial guards one by one. Flaming tigers and wolves jumped up and down, spewing flames from their mouths. A sea of fire was rising. The Earth Armor Dragon's attack and defense were extremely strong. Ordinary swords and sabers couldn't even pierce through its defensive armor. They could only wait to be slaughtered. The most shocking thing was the level 7 Beast King with the bloodline of the Beast King, Yin Evil Dragon. Wherever it went, buildings collapsed, and buildings were flattened. Coupled with the thick defense of its stone armor, the Imperial Guards couldn't do anything to it. Kill! Many experts of the Hidden Wind region gathered together and harvested the lives of their enemies. Earth Flow River. Chi Tung let out a loud roar, and his body erupted with a dazzling golden light. Then, a surging mudslide rushed down like a raging sea, instantly burying the dozens of guards in front of him. Hiss! Luo Mengshang held a sword in her hand. A pair of pure white wings appeared on her back. She shuttled through the crowd of enemies like a phantom. The dazzling sword shadows were swift and graceful, killing dozens of people with a single strike. Fu Qin's swordsmanship was also superb. It constantly created illusory afterimages, dazzling the enemy and making them unable to attack. By the time they reacted, it was already too late. A thin red line quickly flowed out of their throats. At this point, no one in the Hidden Wind region dared to be careless. The experts of Swordforge City, Celestial Beast Sect, Green Willow Village, and Su family had no choice but to go all out. Their eyes were bloodshot, and they let the warm blood of their enemies spray on their faces, feeling the joy of the most primitive slaughter. Kill! Long Qingyang and the Long family's guards were revisiting the place. This was where Long Zhan had died in front of them. Driven by hatred, Long Qingyang's killing intense sword. His methods were ruthless and cruel. The Imperial City's guards were forced to retreat, using their corpses to create a red path for the people of the Hidden Wind region. Chu Hen stood at the top of a jade building that was nearly 100 meters tall. He looked like a king, quietly looking down at the bloody battlefield that was comparable to a Jura hell. Inside the palace, Huang Fuqing looked at the thin and slender figure from afar. His eyes trembled slightly, and there was an indescribable feeling of helplessness and complexity. After not seeing him for 2 years, Chu Hen's temperament had undergone a huge change. Although he was usually a calm person, Huang Fuqing could see a hint of warmth in his eyes. But now, there was not the slightest bit of warmth on Chu Hen's body. There was only a chill that made people's hearts palpitate. How should they face him? Huang Fuqing was at a loss. Phew, the sky has really been turned upside down. Principal Jiang, who was 100 meters away from the battlefield, allowed a deep breath and said in a deep tone. Yu Shihai frowned and looked at the chaotic scene in front of him with a solemn expression. This scene was even worse than the battlefield, where thousands of soldiers were slaughtering each other. General Shihai, wait. At this moment, Principal Jiang stopped Yu Shihai, who was about to rush forward. Don't go. Yu Shihai's face darkened as he said, even though I hate the cruelty and heartlessness of the imperial power and loathe the divine empress control of the court, I am still the commander-in-chief of the 3 armies of the dynasty. How can I just watch as the imperial city is broken and abandon it? All right. Don't make things difficult for Chu Hen. Principal Jiang shook his head and sighed. You said that if you go now, Chu Hen won't be able to kill you, and if he doesn't kill you, you will be in a dilemma. You should just stay with me. Plus, you and I are still prisoners. Aren't you just asking for trouble by going there? Yu Shihai was speechless. He didn't know what to do. The chaotic battle was going on, and the air was soaring. All kinds of beautiful skills were colliding with each other, bursting out dazzling light patterns. Boom! Right at this moment, the steel-like body of the Serene Evil Dragon fiercely hit the tall city wall. In an instant, deep cracks rapidly spread across the city walls. The evil dragon swayed its body and continued to attack. Along with the thunderous sound of rolling stones, the high city wall of the imperial city suddenly collapsed. Dust and smoke were flying everywhere, and rocks were rolling everywhere. As soon as the palace gate was broken, the guards of the imperial city were panicking. The Hidden Wind region's morale was even higher. They swept through everything in their way. The experts and the demonic beast army crossed over the ruins and rushed into the palace. Kill, go. At the same time, Chu Hen, who was standing on the top of the 100-meter-tall building, moved, leaving a series of vigorous afterimages in the void. His surging momentum stirred up the airflow in all directions. Chu Hen took the lead and flew to the front. His eyes were sharp, stirring up the wind and clouds. Chu Hen is here. Where's the royal old man? Come out. Chapter 591. Chu Hen is here. Where's the old man from the imperial family? A surging aura whizzed past, causing the numerous guards in front of them to tumble to the ground. Chu Hen took the lead. He leaped into the air, leading the experts of the Hidden Wind region over the collapsed city wall and into the imperial palace. Roar! Screech! The color of the sky changed, and the momentum was surging. Figures with powerful auras followed behind Chu Hen, leading the army of demonic beasts into the imperial palace. Outside the battlefield, many people in the imperial city turned pale with fright, and their faces were filled with shock. They did not expect that Chu Hen could enter the imperial palace of the Sacred Star dynasty so easily. Moreover, the imperial ancestor had not shown up yet. Kill. Enter the hall of diligent government and sit on the throne. Haha, well said. Brothers, let's take turns to sit on the throne. The experts of the Hidden Wind region had an imposing aura. They flew over one after another and quickly occupied the major positions. As the highest authority of the Sacred Star dynasty, the imperial palace was extraordinarily vast, and the buildings were extremely luxurious and magnificent. The jade palaces were magnificent and majestic. The glazed bricks and the carved railings were made of jade. Rows upon rows of magnificent and luxurious palaces were arranged in an orderly manner. In the center of the imperial palace stood the most magnificent palace. It was 100 jong high, with green bricks and jade tiles. There were rows of palace pillars, and in front of the door was a flight of stairs that was more than 10 meters high. The space in front of the palace was vast and imposing. This palace was the Great Hall of Diligent Government, the place where all the civil and military officials held court. Huang Fuqing, who was standing on a tall building in the distance, watched Chu Hen lead his people into the imperial palace. She did not know what to do. What should she do? Undeniably, Chu Hen was one of her few friends, or even her only friend. His importance was self-evident. However, her family name was also Huangfu. She was a member of the imperial family. Suddenly, Huang Fuqing's heart trembled slightly. Why hadn't the imperial ancestor appeared yet? This seemed to be particularly inconsistent with the other party's character of not allowing anyone to violate the dignity of the imperial family. Under normal circumstances, the imperial ancestor would not allow Chu Hen to bring people to kill into the imperial capital. Not only had Chu Hen easily entered the imperial city, but he had also destroyed the Wei clan and the Nan Prince residence, and now he had even charged into the Hall of Diligent Government. To be honest, Huang Fuqing didn't believe that the royal family's defenses were so weak. Especially at this moment, they didn't even see a single expert from the Dark Team, which was even more unreasonable. Could it be? Huang Fuqing's expression suddenly changed. As if he had suddenly realized something, he subconsciously shouted, "Let's go. Hurry up and leave." This familiar voice was like ripples splashing on the calm surface of the water. It was gentle and hurried, like a wisp of a cool breeze entering Chu Hen's ears. Chu Hen subconsciously looked sideways, and there was a faint, strange light in those cold and deep eyes. However, in the next second, the spiritual energy in the surroundings suddenly became exceptionally restless. Chu Hen, Long Qingyang, Shilan, and the others who had already arrived in the air above the Hall of Diligent Government were all shocked. Then, they saw countless dazzling silver runes appear on the ground of the enormous square below them. The dazzling silver runes were like endless arcs of lightning, crisscrossing and spreading at an extremely fast speed. In an instant, they had transformed into a giant array that was over 1,000 meters wide. Not good. It's a talisman array. Yin Hanlu was the first to react. Everyone else's expression changed drastically. Damn it, it was actually an ambush. Boom! In an instant, the giant array that spanned 1,000 meters was instantly activated. Thousands of dazzling pillars of light erupted like the sun. A huge silver pillar of light that was 1,000 meters wide soared into the sky. It pierced through the sky with a force that pierced through the heavens and into the thick layers of clouds. A fierce wind rose, and the world spun. Before Chu Hen and the others could even react, they were already enveloped by that majestic pillar of light. From afar, it looked as if they had been locked in an incomparably huge golden glass bottle. Nearly a portion of the demonic beasts and humans were spared because they were at the back. However, the ones trapped in the talisman array were the most powerful ones. Chu Hen, Long Qingyang, Luo Mengchong, Yin Hanlu, and many other experts from the Hidden Wind region. Roar! The Sure Yin evil dragon was enraged, and a vast and ferocious aura surged as it slammed into the solid wall of light in front of it like a mountain. Bang! Light splashed everywhere, and sparks blossomed. The space shook violently, and layers of ripples appeared on the wall of light like a curtain of water. However, there were no signs of it cracking. The Sure Yin evil dragon, which had the strength of a 7th-level beast king, was actually sent flying. Let's go up. Heavenly Beast Sect Master Donghua Hong shouted. Screech. After saying that, a few giant eagles soared into the sky, and with the momentum of crashing into the sky, they charged into the surging black clouds. They moved as fast as lightning, piercing through the wind and breaking through the waves. However, when they were less than a kilometer away from the ground, a few loud boom sounds rang out, and the few giant eagles seemed to have hit an invisible iron plate. They were instantly badly mutilated, and with a few wails, they fell from the sky and smashed into pieces. Everyone frowned, and their expressions turned grave. Rumble! 3,000 volts of lightning, and a storm came. Immediately after, dazzling golden chains appeared from the black clouds above everyone's heads. The chains had an illusory luster, as if they had been soaked in the holy light of the sun. The sky-piercing chains extended endlessly, intertwining with each other, and then forming a huge heavenly net that enveloped the sky above Chu Hen and the others. A formless pressure surged toward everyone from all directions. The talisman array activated, and the power that intimidated all directions caused this part of the world to become extremely uneasy. Ha ha! I've waited for a long time, everyone. A burst of complacent laughter followed. Then a dozen figures with extraordinary auras stepped on the air and flashed to the void in front of Chu Hen and the others. Powerful Reiki energy waves were released from these people, and their leader was a middle-aged man in his 30s. He was dressed in a brocade robe, and his eyes were full of frivolity and disdain as he looked at Chu Hen and the others. Zhendan Xian? Long Qingyang's expression changed, and he spat out 2 cold words. What? Upon hearing this name, quite a few people behind Chu Hen revealed shocked expressions. There were few in the Sacred Star dynasty who did not know the name Zhendan Xian. This man was the #1 spiritual tattooist in the Sacred Star dynasty. And seeing this, Huang Fuqing, who was standing in the distance, felt very uneasy. Sure enough, his guess had been confirmed. This trick of waiting for Chu Hen and the others to take the bait. Zhendan Xian, the strongest spiritual tattooist in the Sacred Star dynasty. At this moment, the situation on Chu Hen's side did not look optimistic. Here is the 5th chapter. Originally, it was supposed to be the 4th chapter, but today is April Fool's Day. Take it as a small surprise for my brothers. This chapter is not counted in the flowers section, but as a thank you to my brothers for your support along the way. Zhendan Xian was mentioned in the previous chapter. He was the first spiritual tattooist in the Sacred Star dynasty, and his niece, Zhan Yi, had a grudge against the protagonist. That was when the protagonist repaired the Phantom Bell. The specific chapter was in Chapter 322, God's Favored Girl, and the following 2 chapters. Later, it also appeared in the plot of Beast Ridge, and the specific chapter was Chapter 388, Palm End, Tianxian. Brothers, if you have forgotten, you can review the previous chapters. If there is anything you do not understand, you can also leave a message in the book review section, and I will reply after reading it. Yes, the book review section. I can't reply to other channels or websites.